Ravens won the opening coin toss, have been elected to defer, so we'll see the defense on the field first as we head you down to the field, visiting with Evan Washburn. Evan, a different approach for John Harbaugh and how he will play his veterans this preseason.
Yeah, Jerry, that's always one of the biggest questions. How much will the starters play? Who will play? And offensively, at least we know tonight they'll be without some of their starters. But the first teamers, as they're constituted in this game, will go about 20 plays. And that's the plan for the first three preseason games, 20, 20, and 20, according to John Harbaugh. And it's an idea he got from his brother Jim. Those 20 plays added up equals 60, which replicates a regular season game, the best way to evaluate guys according to Harbaugh. We'll see how it plays out, guys.
Brian, what do you think of that philosophy? It is a new approach.
It is. Normally it was what? A series, maybe two in the first game. You get a quarter in the second game, and you get a full half, maybe come out in the second half in the third game. You get to the same place. As Evan said, it's still going to get you those 60 or 70 snaps. The question becomes, let's say your offense or your defense is stunning. It's 3 and out. You're feeling good about it. Well, you really going to pull them after 6 plays? That's what you're going to want to do. We'll see if that 20-20-20 holds up.
Ravens wearing the home white for the night game. Redskins wearing the burgundy jerseys with the gold pants, as Justin Tucker will get us underway here. Justin Tucker hitting a 61-yard field goal earlier this summer in the opening practice here at the stadium. He'll be kicking to Zach Pascal. Brian told you, special teams crucial, and we are underway. Tucker hits it high and short. Jerry Rossberg wants to see his coverage teams work tonight. Pascal brings it out across the 15-20. It'll be taken down at the 25-yard line. Terrell Suggs will lead the Ravens defense onto the field. And among that group, we're going to get a look at Jalen Hill as one of the cornerbacks. Brian, we talked about the need for depth. What a great way to find out the depth you can rely on going against first teamers.
And when we talked with John Harbaugh, he was kind of excited. I mean, you can look at that glass half full, glass half empty in terms of some of the injuries, but this really gives you a chance, more of an opportunity to see some of these guys, particularly in the secondary, which really is the biggest question for this defense.
Kirk Cousins under center to get it started for the Redskins. 1st and 10 at their 25. He'll go play fake. Cousins down the seam, and it's almost intercepted. If Eric Weddle had looked up, he would have had an easy pick to start the game. Take a look at the defense up front. Brandon Williams, Michael Pierce, Brent Urban. It is a deep defensive line group. At linebackers, Brian, I guess the guy we're going to watch tonight, Kamalei Correa, to see if he can fill in for Zach Orr.
Yeah, you need that balanced Terrell Suggs to get that pressure.
And newcomers Brandon Carr and Tony Jefferson rounding out Dean Pease secondary. 2nd down and 10 for the Redskins. Opening drive of preseason 2017. Kirk Cousins with Rob Kelly as his deep back. Kelly will get his first carry, and he won't get far as the Ravens defense, led by Terrell Suggs, collapses on him after a 2-yard gain.
Yeah, this is typical Ravens defense, right? If you're going to throw it on 1st down, now you're going to try to change up going 2nd down. They stuff the run, and now you're on a 3rd and long.
Terrell Suggs now in his 15th season. He's the complement to younger players like Michael Pierce. He is without a doubt the leader of this defense, the guy who sets the tone in the meeting rooms, the practice field, and tonight the game atmosphere on 3rd down and 8. Ravens defense looking for their first 3 and outs of the preseason. Cousins, pocket collapsing, and down he goes. A major area of emphasis for the Ravens this year as Brent Urban gets there first. The Ravens, Brian, wanted to see a big uptick in their pass rush pressure.
Yeah.
They got it early.
Look how many people you got coming. You got 6 guys coming, 7 guys coming. It's a jailbreak at this point, and where the quarterback hate it most, when it's right up the middle, right down the gut, there's no place to step.
So we're going to look at Tim White now as he tries to earn a job as a returner. Tressway will kick standing at his 5. Hangs a wobbly punt, and White has to make the fair catch. He secures it inside the Ravens 40, and that's where Ryan Mallett and the Ravens offense will go to work after a 42-yard punt. Ryan Mallett now in his 7th season out of Arkansas. When he came to the Ravens in 2015, Brian, he opened up with a stunning upset victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers, so we know he can get the job done.
The guy has eye-popping talent, big arm down the field. His nemesis right now is the accuracy in the underneath levels. Can he get that accurate swing pass? Can he get that underneath shallow cross to where the receiver can catch the ball on a dead sprint and run with it?
On 1st down, Mallett on the short drop. His pass through the hands of Terrence West. and incomplete. The challenge for the Ravens up front, Brian, is going to be the interior of that offensive line. They have a new center this year in Ryan Jensen, who appears to be winning that job. But Matt Skura is going to be at right guard, and Jermaine Illuminor, 5th-round draft pick out of Texas A&M, is at left guard. So normally a strength of this offense. Now it is a very young interior offensive line. Weston Taliaferro in the backfield, and it's going to be an end around to White trying to hit the accelerator, and he'll deke his way across the 45-yard line to set up a 3rd down and short for the Ravens.
And you talked about the offensive line, Jerry. This is the test on 3rd down. Although this is, 3rd manageable, this is pretty good. But John Harbaugh, we talked to Eric DeCoste during the course of practice. They're not only competing with the guys on the team, they're competing with everybody else in the league. Is there somebody else out there that we think we can get to be better in terms of the interior line? They have a great opportunity to solidify those positions.
And in the regular season, I think we'll see Danny Woodhead in this situation. Tonight, it's Terrence West joining Mallett in the backfield on 3rd down and 2. Mallett going to the far sideline. He's got Campanaro. He underthrew him at the 30-yard line.
Yeah, that's a pass. You got to get up and down a little bit quicker. Isn't that the term the golfers use? Got to get up and down. That thing's got to get up and down quicker. It kind of hung. It was fairly accurate, but it just took too long to get there. That's the type of touch that I'm talking about that Ryan Mallett has to develop.
So Sam Cook will come on for his first punt of the preseason. Will Blackman is deep inside the Redskins 10. Sam Cook has a wide variety of punts. It's a sidewinder. He'll drop it inside the 10. It'll trickle down the sideline and go out of bounds inside the 5. Job done by Sam Cook. Opening quarter, preseason 2017. Scoreless so far.
Football is brought to you by M&T Bank, the official bank of your Baltimore Ravens. By MedStar Health, the official medical team of the Baltimore Ravens. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. By Verizon, the official wireless voice, internet, and cable service provider of the Baltimore Ravens. And by Advanced Business Systems, official business solutions provider to the Baltimore Ravens.
Injuries have been a big part of the early phase of preseason for the Ravens. Joe Flacco unable to practice so far in training camp. Rashad Perryman is not playing tonight. He's missed the last week or so with a hamstring injury. And Maurice Kennedy suffering a knee injury, scheduled to be the slot corner. The Ravens now hope to see him back in the lineup around week 8 when he's eligible to come off of the injured reserve list. Kirk Cousins stays in at quarterback. The Ravens defense has Washington backed up inside its 5. Rob Kelly looking for a little bit of daylight to run to. Instead, it's Brandon Williams who brings him down after a gain of about 3.
Yeah, the Redskins are a little short-handed in the receiving corps. They don't have Crowder, they don't have Doxson, they don't have Reed to challenge the Ravens down the field. So I got a feeling we're going to see these safeties and corners maybe crowd that box just a little bit until Kirk Cousins shows, yeah, we can still get in behind you with the group that we have here.
It's interesting to see another team because you realize they have problems too. Ravens showing blitz, and here it comes. Cousins from his end zone. Under pressure, completes it across the 10-yard line. It will be shy of the first down. Rob Kelly on the reception. Matt Judon right there on the stop. Judon now in his 2nd year, playing the Sam linebacker spot. Brian, what's the big leap you see players make going from year 1 to year 2?
Well, that really, because think about their first year. They go from a college season to the All-Star game, OTA. I mean, if you can just get yourself to the stadium on a regular basis, that's good for your rookie year. Now you have an entire off season with focus on the particular areas you need to get better. That's where you see those big jumps in the 2nd year of a career.
3rd down, a long 1. Ravens have the number 2 3rd down defense in the NFL a year ago. C.J. Mosley with a run blitz, and the Ravens are going to bottle the Redskins up. Pressure came from Brent Urban and Michael Pierce, and the Redskins running game never found its gear. Again, it's 3 and out.
Yeah, you're going to have a tough time trying to make a living going down the middle of this Raven defense. What did we say about them crowding the line of scrimmage because of the lack of a threat throwing down the field? They had the linebackers step up into those gaps. You build that picket fence. They had no place to go.
So Tim White will get his 2nd shot at returning a punt. Rookie free agent out of Arizona State. It's been impressive in camp. Tress Way kicking out of the end zone. Go back White up to his 35. He's got some room to run across the 40. A little spin move. I think that's the X on Madden. Doesn't get him much more than a yard or two. And the Ravens will have excellent field position at their 43 to start the second drive. For Ryan Mallett. Just under 10.5 minutes of play in the opening quarter. We are scoreless. Ravens take possession for the second time with a scoreless start here in the opening quarter. Jerry Sandusky, Brian Billick live from the Verizon broadcast booth for the preseason opener. This offensive line for the Ravens is not what I think you will see come season opening game on the road in Cincinnati. Ronnie Stanley at left tackle, last year's #1 pick. It's the interior, Brian, that presents the opportunities. Jensen and Skura and Illuminor, and then the specialist Chris Moore, a speedy second-year receiver. Chris Matthews a star at the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Nick Boyle is the new #1 tight end after all of the injuries decimated that position. And then Taliaferro and West in the backfield. Taliaferro is interesting. They moved him from running back to fullback. But I suspect we might see him play a little bit of both positions.
Yeah, they talked to us about that, didn't they, Jerry? About how later in the season, particularly when the weather changes and you need that big physical back, he may be able to step into that role for the Ravens.
Terrence West will get the carry on first down. Got a little bit of a seam. It'll punch his way through there out to the 47-yard line before Ziggy Hood brings him down, a former Pittsburgh Steeler.
You talk about the developing interior of the line and Skura at guard, which is a good thing because when you're talking about your game day roster, you got to have a tackle that swings right to left, and you've got to have 4 guys in the interior, 2 of which have got to be able to snap. So you got to have your starting guards, your center, and a guy that can swing both at center and guard.
And that was John Urschel, who retired on the first day of training camp. Terrence West on the second down sweep, no room to run, and he'll barely get back to the line of scrimmage. It'll be third down. Coming up for Ryan Mallett. Missed on a third down opportunity last time. This is what John Harbaugh is looking for. He wants to see Ryan Mallett make something of these opportunities.
Ravens want to do what? They want to run the ball more. Well, if you're going to do that, you've got to convert on the third downs that present themselves, whether it's third and short or medium like they had the first time, or this third and a little bit longer. This is Ryan Mallett's down right here.
Brings Chris Moore in tight to the right. Mallett to throw on third down. Good protection. Fires down the seam, and it's incomplete. He was looking for Moore at the 30 or Quincy Adeboyejo at the 35. He missed them both.
Yeah, well, there's the rub, isn't it? Do we know which one he was throwing to? The ball, and Ryan Mallett is a big, strong-arm quarterback, and that's part of the difficulty when you have such a strong arm to be able to find that touch to drop it, because not a lot of wide windows. You got to be able to drop it in behind linebackers, in front of safeties. You got to develop that touch to convert on third down.
Sam Cook punting to Will Blackman. The rugby style end over end. Blackman will settle into this one and makes the fair catch at the 6-yard line. So, Coach, what are the coaches looking for out of this first preseason game? John Harbaugh has a long list. Take us through the priorities.
Well, we've already talked about finding depth in the offensive line, both for that, whether it's going to be that swing guard, that swing tackle, who shines in the return game. They'd like to be able to solidify who their return guy is going to be and who else can get to the quarterback. We need to develop that off rusher to Terrell Suggs. If Terrell Suggs is going to be a double-digit sack guy again, they've got to build a presence on the offside for people to have to deal with and not just be able to go one-on-one and negate them.
That young offensive line getting schooled up by new offensive line coach Joe DeAlessandris.
Watch for a vertical here. Got to get Terrell Pryor involved. You don't want to be with your back to this end zone, nor turn around and run the ball and be in a second and long.
Samaje Perine gets the carry right back to the line of scrimmage. New quarterback for the Redskins, Colt McCoy in. So Kirk Cousins, 2 series and done, a pair of 3 and outs. They won't be terribly happy with that in the tape room, I'm sure.
I always like Bobby Bowden's line when you're in backed up football. His philosophy was, don't get nervous, somebody's about to score, which basically says you got to be aggressive. You got to get a chance to change the field position. Can't be afraid to take shots, even if it means they may come up with it.
Second down and 9. Perine in the backfield with Colt McCoy. McCoy looking to throw. Pocket collapsing, and McCoy's pass reflects the pass rush pressure. Another 3rd down and long coming up for the Redskins. Right now, your Baltimore area Burger King restaurants are offering collectible Ravens player cups with a new Ravens player each week for 6 weeks. Collect all 6 with a purchase of a large combo meal or a large soft drink. So score big now. Only at Burger King for a limited time only while supplies last.
Here's the dilemma for Colt McCoy. Do I wait it out with the pressure that the Ravens can bring on me to get the throw to the 1st down, or do I dump this thing off quick to beat the pressure and hope my receiver can get yards after the catch for the 1st down?
3rd down and 9. Ravens will rush 5. Quick outlet pass complete, but only a gain of a yard. And once again, Dean Pease bringing the pass rush pressure. That time it's Tyus Bowser, 2nd-round draft pick out of Houston, coming up with a catch. John Harbaugh told us that Bowser is one of those guys he's going to watch on special teams, but he got a nice look at him there out of the defense.
Well, what did I say in the pregame? Bowser was the best cover linebacker coming out of the draft. So that translates in a lot of ways. Just like I said, what Colt McCoy won, I want to be able to dump the ball off and let my guy get the 1st down with his legs. With the athleticism of Bowser to run you down, that ain't going to happen.
Impressive start for the Ravens defense. Tressway almost gets it blocked. White is going to let this one bounce and trickle out of bounds in Redskins territory, and a late flag thrown at the 20-yard line as a couple of Ravens players got tangled up with a Redskin. Jalen Hill. They were blocking the gunner, Phillips, for the Redskins. Now the rookies better hope that they did not make a mental mistake that's going to cost them tremendous field position, because that is going to set up a lecture.
Yeah, that when you get this opportunity here, and again, folks, it's tough. We talked about how the late roster spots are about guys that can.
Holding, receiving team number 31. 10-yard penalty from the end of the play. 1st down, timeout.
Robertson Daniel, yeah, he's going to get an ear here, and it's tough. What did I say about the special teams? You got to be able to break down in open space, and sometimes when you can't, all of a sudden you end up getting help.
Ravens almost got the Tressway punts. Instead, they'll get the ball, so the score time 0. Our broadcast team got together for the first time this summer. Brian was kind enough to host us down at his Eastern Shore home. And what did we have for lunch? What else would you have for lunch? Crabs.
Crab Claw, baby. Best crabs on the bay. Wayne took good care of us down there at the Crab Claw.
Ryan Mallett on 1st down hands it off to Buck Allen. And Buck Allen will be stood up after a gain of about 3. Get to the 46-yard line. Buck Allen is an interesting story. Draft pick 2 years ago. He disappeared last year. Only had 9 carries. So Brian, he has to know he comes into this season trying to play his way out of the doghouse or onto the roster. Either way, it's not a good thing to carry the ball 9 times.
No, and when Kenneth Dixon got hurt, this is the opportunity for Allen. This is how it works. This is what John Harbaugh is talking about. Great opportunity for these guys to step up.
Play fake screen, and Buck Allen takes a big hit from Zach Brown, but he held on to the ball. Once again, Ryan Mallett's going to be looking at a 3rd down.
Now, based on the first 2 throws on 3rd down, again, just like we said with Colt McCoy, does Barney Morningwig decide, you know what, I'm gonna let him get the ball out of his hands quick. I'm gonna let someone catch and try to get the 1st down, rather than he's had good protection on both the first 2 3rd down throws. So protection's not the issue so far for Ryan Mallett.
3rd down and 8. Ravens trying to maximize good field position. Mallett lofts it to the far sideline. He's got Campanaro out there and again underthrown, but this time penalty flags will accompany the ball to the field. Joshua Holsey appeared to make contact with Campanaro before the ball arrived.
Yeah, and I hate this. You know, when it's an underthrown pass, or really, what do you tell the defender? When it's all about coaching, it's okay. What do I do to help you? Let's see, get the call
Pass
here.
interference, defense number 20. By rule, the ball is placed at the spot of the foul, automatic. 1st down.
And we've got pretty good coverage here, right? He's pressing. Now I'm underneath. I've transitioned. I'm there. The ball is severely underthrown. All of a sudden, the guy stops. Now, it is a penalty. Make no mistake. But it's one as a coach. You just kind of, you're frustrated because what do I tell the kid? Don't run into him.
For Marty Morningwig, that's 2 routes, though, that Michael Campanaro has gotten open on. So he's shown some flashes. Nick Boyle, tight end in motion on 1st down. The first 1st down of the game. Buck Allen, not much running room. Look at it to the 30. Pick up of a couple before Trent Murphy brings him down. Back to Buck Allen. Brian, when you see a running back who showed real potential as a rookie, falls way off in his second year, what do you tell him to let him know, look, this is probably your last shot to be in good grace?
Tell you what, let's go back and look at what you did good in the first year. And what are you not doing now? Is it something physical, mental? You thinking too much? Is it the scheme? We got to give you something to make, give you a chance to look as good as you did in your rookie.
Allen, the deep back, will get another carry. He's got a lead block, a seam, and he pounds his way down inside the 25-yard line. Nice run there. It'll set up a 3rd down and 3.
Yeah, good block by Skura there. You're going to see anytime you have an inside run, this is kind of a little mini counter, and you're going to see just this little counter step. And look at the way he hits the hole down here. Look at the way he carries his shoulder. That extra 2 and 3 yards as a play caller, you love that. That just turned a 3rd and 6 into a 3rd and 3.
Talked about Skura being possibly one of those guys who can play guard and center for you as a backup. On 3rd down, Buck Allen carrying off left tackle, and he is stood up and stopped at the line of scrimmage. Mason Foster was right in the hole. A Redskin player shaken up. Looks like Trent Murphy shaken up at the end of that play. Back to the run, though.
Yeah, and that's
frustrating 3rd downs.
Yeah, it was. And anytime, you want to, we all know, okay, you got to run the ball more, and we know the record in terms of the Ravens when they're a top 10 rushing team and not a top 10 rushing team. A lot of things go into running the ball more. You got to earn the right to be in the upper end of the league, not in terms of success, but in terms of the ability to run the ball. How many times are you going to run it? The Ravens last year were 31st or 30th in the league with Detroit and Cleveland. Now, there's not a lot of things that you want to be compared to Detroit and Cleveland, and rushing attempts is one of them. John Harbaugh knows that. Marty Morning knows that. Greg Roman, who was on my staff, original staff here, they know that. They want to be able to run the ball, but it comes down to the offensive line. It comes down to the punch of your running backs. It comes down to your quarterback converting. You got to reward your team when you get into a 3rd and medium or a 3rd and short. To be able to convert on those 3rd and shorts, to reward them for a good solid running game on 1st and 2nd down.
Can't get the momentum you want if you're not converting on 3rd down. So far, the Ravens have failed to convert on 3 3rd downs. The only conversion came on the pass interference by Halsey. And the injured Redskin on the play, Trent Murphy. The one thing every coach and every fan dreads to see is an injury. Murphy getting some help as he ambles towards the Redskins sideline. So it will be a field goal attempt of 43 yards for Justin Tucker. Justin Tucker last year just shy of perfect. 38 for 39 a year ago. His only miss was a blocked kick in New England. This is a 43-yard try from the left hash mark. Sam Cook with a hold. Justin Tucker's kick is off the upright and no good, but a flag is down on the play.
Oh, you want to see a coach go ballistic? If this is against the Redskin, because this is going to give you a 1st down.
Illegal formation foul, number 92, defense. Lined up with the thing of the snapper. 5-yard penalty results in a 1st down.
Wow. Jay Gruden can't be happy about that. The explanation of that rule, no defensive player can be lined up even over top of the shoulder pads of the snapper. The rule says you have to have some daylight between the snapper's shoulder pads and the players next to him. So a missed field goal by Justin Tucker. Brian, to me, that's the bigger takeaway. Tucker doesn't miss from that range.
No, but again, a lot of moving part, but the key thing here is a 1st down. Now, Ryan Mallett, he's been given great field position. It's like getting a great punt return. You're starting on the 20-yard line. Well, I'd like to see a shot to the end zone right here.
Allen in the gun. West to the backfield. West will get the carry. He's to the 15. Sidesteps the tackler 10. He's got a shot. That'll be taken down at the 2-yard line. A terrific run by Terrence West. And again, Brian, good blocking in the interior offensive line.
Or run a draw down to the 2. Either one. I'll take it. Nice job. This is patience. This is all about little counter play. Get to the 2nd level. Now you can do that little side cut right there. Bad tackling by the Redskins. I like the jump cutting that he's doing to get those extra solid yards.
An 18-yard gain for Terrence West. And Marty Morningwig's offense now in the Grill Mates red zone for the first time tonight.
How would you like to just pound it in from here, Joe? Just to send that message about what we're doing with the running game.
It is the power formation. Backs in the eye. Give us to West, straight ahead. He's not going to get to the goal line. Phil Taylor bottles him up. Got close to the 1. It'll be 2nd and goal from there, and another big body coming in as Larry Donnell, one of the pickups during training camp, tight end formerly of the New York Giants, will come in to add some blocking punch.
And this is the chess match now with Greg Minuski, the defensive coordinator for the Redskins. Do I sell it and stop the run? Do I think they're going to try to run it with the big bodies? And if so, if this is a play-action pass, we're in trouble.
Ricky Ortiz is the fullback to give it to West, up and over, and Terrence West is in for the touchdown as the Ravens strike first in the 2017 preseason. Well, that's some will to score.
And there again, the commitment. Were they going to run? I love the ups by Terrence West. That was a pretty good vertical. Typically, if you time that's when you hit a stone wall, someone times it the same way. But for supposed to be a pretty good power back, those were pretty good ups by West.
I pointed out the fullback, Ricky Ortiz. Fullback is one of the positions the Ravens lost in the offseason with Kyle Juszczyk signing with San Francisco. So Ortiz with a chance to prove his mettle down at the goal line with a nice lead block. And now Justin Tucker on for the extra point try. His field goal attempt from 43 yards was no good off the upright. This will be 33 on the extra point try. And Tucker puts that one in between the uprights.
Yeah, you gotta love. What sets him up for the touchdown? Running game. You gotta love it. You gotta draw. Look at the jump cuts. Now the side vertical. Now get the power. Try to get in. And now I'm going to show the athleticism going airborne with the big ups and cover up the ball.
$7-0 Ravens in front of the Redskins. 3.5 minutes left in the opening quarter. The Geico scoring drive. John Harbaugh will be pleased to look at the tape of this one. Terrence West capping an 8-play, 57-yard drive. Took a little bit more than 4 minutes. It was a Redskins special teams penalty that kept the Ravens offense on the field, and Terrence West took full advantage of the opportunity. Jerry Sandusky, Brian Billick with you live from the Verizon broadcast booth. New look for John Harbaugh wearing the glasses. I like those glasses because they look almost identical to the one I have on.
Yeah, well, old man time's undefeated. And even as a good, young, fit coach like John Harbaugh, all of a sudden now you're looking out there and it just gets a little tougher to see what's going on. Welcome to the club, John.
Amen. A lot of really successful people in our country's history have worn glasses. John Harbaugh, one of the many. Big night for the Ravens head coach because, Brian, you've watched now through training camp and you've done this so many times. It isn't until you get to the game situation you really find out what you have. Justin Tucker will kick it off. Zach Pascal settles under it, turns it across the 10 to the 20 and down at the 22. Let's take a look at the Ravens 2017 draft class and the impact they could have. We won't see Marlon Humphrey tonight. He has been out the last few days of practice. We've already seen Tyus Bowser, Brian.
Yeah, and Chris Wormley next coming out. Nothing flashy about this guy. Good and reliable. Tim Williams, devastating inside pass rush move. Love to see that tonight. We've already seen Ellen Munor, number 71. Jermaine, obviously with the unique background coming from London. Chuck Clark, a lot of starts obviously at Virginia Tech, plays both cornerback and safety.
Colt McCoy will stay on at quarterback. Ravens defense has been impressive here in the early going. Chris Thompson in the backfield. Off the play fake. McCoy under pressure. And he was slinging almost intercepted. That was Jalen Hill, one of the players we talked about, Brian, pregame, about the opportunity at that slot corner position. He's trying to step into it.
Yeah, and we all know with the Ravens, obviously that's been a bit of the Achilles heel, the depth. So they feel good about their starting depth and what they've got. We've got to develop that second level. Dean Pease talked about you in the pregame spot. That's what this game's about, really, is to develop and find out how many moving parts can we have in the secondary, both at corner and safety. A little bit more at corner right now. They're pretty set at safety.
On second down, the quarter throw. Again, under pressure, pocket collapsing. He escaped, but won't get far. Ball came loose at the end of that play. A loss of at least 2. Brent Urban applying the sack pressure as Colt McCoy tried to slip out of the collapsing pocket, comes up with the ball.
Yeah, and anytime you can bring this kind of pressure on the quarterback, you can see right here in Colt McCoy, every lane is filled up. He wants to step up, pulls the ball down, not a lot of places to go. What does that mean? Secondary's plastered up man for man, got no place to go.
So far, the Ravens defense has held the Redskins to 0 yards on offense.
For you fans at home, that's good.
For almost 13 minutes of the opening quarter, McCoy again under pressure. A wobbly pass and a big hit at the end, but complete for the first down out to the 38-yard line. Ryan Grant held on. Anthony Levine applying the stick.
Well, this is the throw we saw Mallett try to complete on the 3rd down early. Just a deep dig route. Nice job, Colt McCoy. Watch him climb the pocket here. He steps up, avoids the rush. A little bit of a wobbler of a pass. Kind of laid him up there a little bit. That's when you come back, hey, I appreciate the pass, man, but ooh, boy, could you get it in a little quicker and a little lower?
Redskins trying Chris Thompson on the run game. Thompson will weave his way out to the 44-yard line. Let's go back to that last play, Coach, and the hit. You cannot simulate this in practice.
No, and that's what this is about. You got to get into hitting shape. Nice job. Got to be careful about leading with the helmet, but I don't think he did. It came off to the pad, particularly young players. This is the hard part of the game to learn, particularly now in the NFL. You got to take your head out of the game.
The 6th-year veteran, Levine, has played every position in Dean Pease defense except for defensive line. That's versatile. Thompson again on the carry, tries to bounce it outside, and Matt Judon will have none of it, but a flag is down at the end of the play.
Yeah, so often when you see a play bounce outside like that, sometimes you lose contact with the defender and it turns into a hold.
Brad Allen, our referee, getting the call from his crew. Colt McCoy signaling it's against the Ravens.
They always do that. They always point the other way. Doesn't mean they're not right.
Illegal use of the hands, hands to the face, number 91, defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
It's Patrick Ricard, one of the undrafted rookie free agents who's been making big play after big play in John Harbaugh's training camp. That is not the first way he wanted the coach to hear his name in the game.
Yeah, my bet is you're going to see on the film he had contact with the pads, and all of a sudden the hand slips up into the face mask.
Look at a chance for a make good later this game, I can promise you that. Thompson with the carry, picks his way through a crowd, and will get into Ravens territory down to the Ravens 46-yard line after a gain of about 5.
And this, you know, the Redskins the same way. They're without their top receiving core. We're getting down the roster a little bit. They'd like to run the ball a little bit. They'd like to keep their defense off the field. We've had the offense of the Ravens start with good field position. Now at least you, at the very least, change the field position for the Redskins.
Final minutes of the first quarter. Ravens up by a touchdown. Samaje Perine in the backfield. Colt McCoy going deep down the sideline. Incomplete. Excellent coverage on the play by Jalen Hill.
Yeah, the Robert Davis for the Redskins. He's had a good training camp for them, so nice job by Hill. There again, what did we see before? He's got contact, a little bit of an arm bar. That's not going to get called. Little pushing and shoving. Nice non-call by the official. Davis, an excellent speedster. The ability to go up and bring that ball down is what they needed there.
How much do you weigh the fact that he's defending against a veteran quarterback, Colt McCoy, in his 8th year? He's not going against the rookie class.
Well, exactly right. So he knows the ball is going to come out in a timely manner, and it's going to be faded away to the outside.
3rd down and 5. Blitz pressure coming. McCoy's pass is complete, but it will be shy of the first down by about half a yard. Again, it's Hill with a terrific open field tackle.
You go for this one. I can't imagine Jay Gruden. I mean, the way this game is stacked up so far, you've had better field position for your defense from the get-go. He's going to go for it here, and I would agree with that.
So
he needs to keep this drive going.
It'll be a 4th down play to start the second quarter. 1 quarter in the books, and the Ravens impressive, especially defensively, as they have bottled up the Redskins and lead it 7-0 in the opening quarter of preseason 2017.
Jerry, check out the new Maryland Lottery Ravens scratch-off games. You could win up to $100,000 instantly.
And Brian, look, there's also a great second chance prize too, like Ravens season tickets for 20 years or a trip to travel the team to Green Bay. Talk about a bucket list trip. You got to go to Lambeau. You can buy Ravens scratch-offs at your favorite Maryland lottery retailer today. Go to mdlottery.com/Ravens for all the details.
Jerry, you want to give me $100,000? It doesn't even have to be instantly.
Over like a couple of years?
Installment plan. I'll take it.
And what am I trading that for?
Crabs.
This is the NFL.
Wine, and a boat trip.
Deal.
We're in.
Fax a letter to the commissioner. We have a trade. Now we just have to tell our wives.
All right, 4th and inches.
Start of the second quarter. Samaje Perine is the back. Ravens show blitz pressure. Perine up the middle. And it will be close, but it looks like he might have it. Kamale Correa met him at the line of scrimmage. Ravens say the Redskins didn't get it.
Boy,
no surprise, the Redskins say they did get it, and that's why they have officials and measurements. And it is a first down.
And it's hard. This one is as a coach, you're sitting here. I don't care which way it goes. You're kind of like, really? I mean, well, they're saying it clearly a first down, so they didn't need to measure it. They got better eyes than you and I. And
John's one of the measurements.
John Harbaugh with those glasses are going, wait a minute, I got glasses. I can see better than that. He didn't make it.
The good thing for the Ravens, it's Correa who had the point of attack play. We'll get to that after this play. McCoy, quick release. His pass is caught at the 40-yard line. And Tyus Bowser again with the open field tackle in the pass coverage. I want to go back to the previous play, Brian, and talk about Kamale Correa. With Zach Orr having to retire in the offseason with that congenital neck disorder, it left a big void at the inside linebacker spot. If Correa can fill it, this defense, I think, has the personnel it needs to fulfill its potential.
Yeah, you always talk about combinations of players. You need outside pass rush, obviously Terrell Suggs. You need combinations of safety. Well, to go with C.J. Mosley, to have a partner, to have that will linebacker would be huge.
2nd down and 7. Troy with Perine in the backfield. Blitz pressure coming. And McCoy down the seam. He overthrew his man. He had him at the 10. Matt Hazel got open, but Colt McCoy with pressure from Anthony Levine lofted that ball too far. And Brian, I think that is one of the most underappreciated arts of defense.
Offense number 60. 10-yard penalty remains 2nd down.
Pass rush pressure leading to incompletions.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be a turnover. You know, just in that situation right there, to turn that now from a 2nd and long into a 3rd and long. There's no question. I mean, Colt McCoy's been around just enough. He's thrown that ball a million times, but just enough of the pressure to change and feel that pressure, even if subtle from the outside. It was really a pretty decent pocket. Got him to get an errant throw where normally he'd come up with that.
And the penalty will back the Redskins up near midfield. Looking at a 2nd and 17. The Perine fumbles the ball. That'll recovered, but back in Ravens territory, Redskins territory at the 48-yard line. So the Redskins offense continuing to go into reverse, and that is because of the pressure being applied by guys like Brent Urban and that front 7 on the Ravens.
Yeah, I tell you what, Brent Urban's looked pretty good, and John Harbaugh talked about they really need to defeats the block down right there, the tackle miss, reaches out, really wasn't in a position to make the play, but you don't give up on it. You reach out, you grab the arm, all of a sudden you create a turnover.
And now it is 3rd and long.
I want to see you on the play sheet where you have a 3rd and forever.
Flag is down. McCoy with a check down, and it is dropped. Perine with a bad series after a fumble drops the check down pass.
Well, John, boy, you've had a great series here to finish, and let's see, are they going to give them another opportunity? Looks like a procedure call was on the Redskins, so now they're going to make them punt. John will feel better about that.
Illegal formation, an uncovered tackle by the offense. That penalty will be declined. 4th down.
John Harbaugh and Dean Pease have to feel really good about what they've seen in the early part of this game from this defense. It's not a surprise. We've talked about the strength of the team being the defense, but it is every bit what we thought it could be and more, what Dean Pease has molded. The infusion of not only the new talent like Brandon Carr, but also the development of young players like Brent Urban. This is a very imposing defense. Tim White is awaiting the Tressway punt. And he will make the fair catch inside the 15-yard line. Defense is really a great comfort blanket, Brian, for a head coach, because you know the offense might have to have some time to come along.
Well, the front seven is the strength of this defense, particularly defensive line coming off the edge from behind. Now look at the number of bodies. Look at them build that picket fence. There's no place to go for the running back. Immediately defeating blocks. This is what the Ravens are the best at. All of a sudden it's a jailbreak in the middle, and you get the quarterback step up, has a lane, you keep the play alive, good effort, chasing the play down, turn it into a negative play for the Redskins.
And that gives Ryan Mallett and the offense the ball, but they will start inside their 15-yard line. And a penalty will back them up. Let's go down to the field with Evan Washburn with more on the Ravens defense.
So guys, just to add to this defensive discussion, when you talk about the depth, and we touched on it in the pregame up front, that also is something that they're looking at, because they know 31 other teams in the NFL are looking at this group. The numbers game could be difficult to make that 53, but it's value for this organization as they build around them.
Ryan Mallett off the play fake, throws out of the backfield, complete to Buck Allen. Lost his footing, a flag down on the play. We'll see if that negates a pickup of about 8 yards. Frequently, Brian, you want to hide some of your young talent in the preseason, but I think tonight the Ravens really want to showcase it.
Yeah, and that's what you say that Dean Pease and John Harbaugh are excited about to see out of the defense. Not unexpected, but yeah, excited. Most importantly, I'm getting a lot of good looks. This is going to be some good film for them with young people, and particularly in the defensive line now. The defensive line is so deep, it may present, with good tape, an opportunity for maybe a trade later in the preseason.
47 defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
So the penalty gets the offense out of the hole. Give Ryan Mallett a little bit of breathing room as well as a first down. Jerry Sandusky, Brian Billick with you live from the Verizon broadcast booth. Brian, I got to tell you, I know we speak for a lot of Ravens fans. It is great having you back with the Ravens.
Well, I'm loving it. I appreciate it. It's been great to jump into the roster, get to know these guys a little bit. I've always been following them, obviously, and when I was doing games for Fox, but to be able to get a little more familiar with this roster right now has been great.
Talafero and Buck Allen in the backfield. Buck Allen will get the carry behind Talafero. Only churn out a couple of yards out to the 14 where Ryan Anderson makes the stop.
And it's early in preseason, and we talk about this 4-stage episode we're going through. It's all about the bodies, but schematically we're seeing a lot of counter plays by Greg Roman. You're going to see here, it's just a matter of, I'm looking at the big board, these brand new big boards. It's hard not to watch the game on these big boards instead of my monitors because they're so nice. But you're seeing a lot of counter plays, pulling the guard, pull the tackle, get the H back at the tight end to follow in. Greg Roman definitely thinking that these cutbacks and counters are the way to go.
Mallett out of the shotgun, quick release. He's got Nick Boyle on the flat, and Boyle will have a first down at the 23-yard line. That moves the chains. Back to the boards, Brian. You're not the only one who's checking out the boards. I've noticed in the bowl of the stadium during the plays, a lot of the fans are using the Dallas Cowboy technique of watching the boards instead of just watching the action on the field. And considering the Ravens have poured $144 million into a 3-year renovation project, you like that return on investment.
Remember Jermaine Lewis, that great return against New York, looking up at the board to see who was close to him.
Absolutely nobody. Buck Allen, he's got a hole, and Allen will stretch his way across the 30-yard line before Nico Marley, Bob Marley's grandson, can bring him to the turf mound.
Well, at the end of the day, when you look at the running game, and you can put whatever schemes you want in, nothing's really new in this game. Look at it there again. You see the guard pulling. You see the tight end coming around in what you used to call an OH play. But these good, at the end of the day, it's what they used to call that 6-inch punch. The ability of the offensive line to develop that short infighting of that 6-inch punch, create a hole with a big physical back that can get you the extra yards.
Mallett on the second down pass to Chris Moore. Slips out of a tackle, takes a big hit at the 43-yard line, and that is good for another Ravens first down.
Nice job by Mallett. Nice accurate throw under a little bit of duress here. He knows where, a little play action fake. You turn your back to the defense. That's the toughest thing for a quarterback. You turn your back to the defense, you come around, and there's a free runner. To get the ball off in that situation, nice job by Ryan Mallett.
And staying out of third and long situations. You're listening to the Ravens Game Day Network, presented by Geico. 7-0 Ravens, second quarter. Mallett hands it off to the rookie, to Quan Mizell. And the former Virginia Cavalier will get about 4 on the carry. Mizell is another one of the young players who could have a role in this organization as a special teamer or as a third down back. And he's the understudy to Danny Woodhead Right, that's a pretty good guy to learn from on third down.
Yeah, in particular, not only this is going to be the difference in the running game for the Baltimore Ravens going forward when we get to see Woodhead in the next couple weeks. Those extended handoffs, I view that as being part of the running game. He can give you a little bit of that as well. Woodhead's going to be the lead dog in that regard.
Mount with a deep drop, great pass protection. He's got all night, and he's going to go all the way down the field inside the 5, and it's broken up at the goal line. He was looking for Chris Matthews at the goal line. Josh Halsey knocked the ball down before it could arrive.
Well, that's Ryan Mallett's wheelhouse. You know, with that kind of protection, he's got the ability to launch the ball. But look at this, down, tight end blocks the end, peeled up. You got all the time in the world. You give credit to the Redskins for being able to hold up that long. But Ryan Mallett, again, you give him that much time. A late deep throw like that tends not to be successful, but he's got the arm to make it.
Ryan Jensen at center doing a terrific job with pass protection. That's one of the areas where we're going to look at closely tonight. And so far it's looking good. Mallett on third down. His pass sails high and incomplete. And again, not clear if he was looking for Michael Campanaro at the 42 or Chris Moore at the 40. He got neither. And the punt team comes on.
And that's the receiver's fault. I got a tough time imagining that Marty Morningwig designed a play where two guys are standing on top of one another with about 3 yards. He just saw a flash wide, figure when do you all come down with this thing?
Instead of Sam Cook on to punt the ball. One of, if not the best punter in the NFL when it comes to dropping the ball inside the 20. Hit a knuckler this time, and it's fumbled. It'll be carried into the end zone before it is picked up by Blackman, brings it out and taken down at the 5-yard line. And that is entirely a Sam Cook punt. Sam Cook hit it intentionally as a knuckler, at which point the punt returner had no idea what to do with it.
Well, that's 3 series that the Redskins are going to have to be inside the 10. Sam Cook, even back in my day, was quite a weapon.
Ravens fans, this year McDonald's is partnering with the Baltimore Ravens. If you download the McDonald's app, you get exclusive daily and weekly deals. And now try out mobile ordering for added convenience. You just never know when Justin Tucker, Sam Cook, and Morgan Cox might be the guys who wait on you at a McDonald's.
We're giving you hamburgers. We're giving you $100,000. How do you not want to join us for all 4 games? We're just giving away stuff right now.
Meeting new stars in the Ravens. We're just getting started. Matt Jones in the backfield will carry on first down, and he's hit, escapes one, but taken down shy of the 10-yard line. As the Ravens backups now continue to dial up the intensity. That was Peanut Owasu, one of the inside linebackers, trying to earn some playing time. He was a backup to Zach Orr last year, and the retirement of Orr has created a conspicuous void in the middle of that Dean Pease defense, and there are a couple of good young players going after it.
These linebackers are reacting quick. They see it and they pull the trigger and go.
Colt McCoy has been under pressure. He'll throw from the 2-yard line, a quick release, and it is caught out at the 18-yard line. Looks like it will be just shy of a first down. Again, Jalen Hill had the coverage. He was one of the guys we were talking about prior to the game as a potential surprise on this roster. An undrafted rookie free agent, but because of injuries, he could figure his way onto a roster spot and some playing time in that slot corner position. Is good for a first down, so fresh set of downs for Colt McCoy. Matt Jones on the carry. And Matt Jones is driven backwards inside the 15-yard line. It was Matt Judon lighting him up.
Yeah, and Carl Davis was a big part of it as well. I tell you what, to defeat those blocks early on the inside, watch the penetration right in here. Whoop, got my circle wrong. I'm falling apart here. I thought I had my free hand. But that immediate penetration with the offensive line, once you get that, your pad level past their pad level that quickly on a stretch play like that, you got no chance whatsoever.
Loss of 2 sets up a second down and 12. Ravens rush 4. It's Colt McCoy throws quickly over the middle. His pass is complete. Ball is jarred loose. A loose ball at the 17-yard line. And the Ravens have recovered. Matt Hazel made the reception. Peanut Owasu with a big hit jarred the ball loose, and then it was Owasu who also recovered it. So Owasu staking his claim for that inside linebacker job.
Yeah, another undrafted free agent here. We've seen these kind of hits from the Ravens already tonight. Great position, legal hit, comes in and follows up. He had to bypass the first hit, follows up, good physical, and then scrambles and stay alive. The play is never over. That'd be a great opportunity to say, great, made a great hit. He's down, but he kept active all the way to the fumble return. Last time we were in this situation, had a nice little draw play. They'd love to run the ball in from here. Now, having said that, they'll throw the ball to the end zone like one and do the last time, right? So my play calling is still struggling.
At least you're consistent.
That's right. That's right.
Back to Peanut Owasu. A year ago, he was an undrafted rookie free agent. Ozzie Newsome, Eric DeCosta, and their team do, without a doubt, a better job than any organization.
Pass followed by a fumble with recovery by the defense. That ruling is on further review.
Of finding those interior inside linebackers. So we will step aside. Well, Brad Allen goes under the new hood. 7-0 Ravens first half.
Well, the NFL coming into the 21st century now. This is the new way that we are now going to review plays. Instead of going under the booth, which I never liked, they're going to now take this out to the official. He sees that. He's in communication with New York. The final call comes from New York. I would make the point, well, then why do we need the camera at all? Let's speed this thing up. You got the extra set of eyes. They're looking at it. They've already made the decision, but at least they're trying to take the steps to do away with the booth.
The ruling on the field has been changed. The receiver did not possess the pass in order to become a runner. Therefore, is it an incomplete pass? It will be 3rd down and 11. Please put 6 minutes and 58 seconds on the game clock. Thank you.
So Brad Allen's trip not under the hood, brought to you by Toyota, turns the ball back to the Redskins. Brian, that's...
Well, I don't know. I think the little shuffling the ball right there, but they always say, did he perform a football act? Well, when you have the ball, you jump over somebody and take a step. To me, that's a football act. Yeah, if I'm John Harbaugh, yeah, I'm going to be upset with that. You know, they always say, well, the brake's leaving out. Yeah, if you last long enough, you know. So that's one of those things where it's a missed opportunity. But you come back. It was a good play. You show that to your team tomorrow and say, guys, this should have been a turnover. Nice job.
John Harbaugh watching the new replay for the first time. And they position the officials at the 20-yard line because the coaching box ends at the 32. They don't want coaches to be able to campaign while they're watching the replay.
Don't put that thing within arm's length of them.
3rd down and 11. McCoy with a quick release, and he's off the target. He was looking for his tight end, Derek Carrier. Good coverage on the play by Roberts and Daniel, and the Ravens are going to get the ball by way of the punt.
Yeah, and Albert McLean got in there as well. Good pressure. You know, again, just Colt McCoy not having any opportunity. You got to get your legs in this kind of throw from the outside. Just not going to happen. Watch this pressure. Little stunt coming from the inside. Free rusher right now for a quarterback. That is a lot to make that throw with a free runner on the inside. Well-designed pressure by Dean Pease.
All 5 of the Redskins' possessions have now ended in punt. Tressway kicking to Tim White. And White will take this one on the run if he can get there. Instead, it goes out of bounds before he can get his hands on it. So Tim White, one of the young rookies, are looking for a chance to make a splash here in the game, but ball hasn't bounced his way just yet. Hey, we invite you to party with the Flock at 2017 Countdown to Kickoff Party presented by Miller Lite. Friday, September 8th. At Maryland State Fairgrounds. Features live performance by Shinedown and Buffy Clyro. I believe that is Brian's favorite group.
Absolutely.
Tickets
on
just
my playlist
$15
right now.
for general admission and include fun activities, including listening to Biffy Clyro. I apologize. Appearances by Ravens players, alumni, much more. Visit BaltimoreRavens.com/kickoff. It's what I get for jerking around. I mispronounced the band's name.
Well, the Ravens have not been for want of good field position, obviously, in this first half. I know John Harbaugh would like to see a little bit more productivity coming out of the offense given the opportunity. We're seeing a little bit of a change. New offensive line now. We got a few different people coming in. Name Bot is now into the lineup. This is, again, one of those guys that they want to find out, they can get the established depth at the tackle. Do they have the swing tackle, notwithstanding Austin Howard now being on the roster? Do they have what they need at swing tackle?
Mallett's pass on second down deflected, incomplete. He was looking for Larry Donnell. And that'll bring up a 3rd down and 10. Ryan Jensen has remained at center throughout the entire first half, and I would imagine that's going to be the marriage we see. If Ryan Jensen is going to be the starting center this year, he will be there as long as Ryan Mallett is there, and I would presume if he holds on to that job, when we see Joe Flacco hopefully later in the preseason, we'll see Ryan Mallett taking the snaps.
That's the thing you missed if you're Joe Flacco. I got to get used to this center.
Yeah.
I'll get used to the receivers. I'm used to doing that. I got to get used to this new center.
Jensen with a shotgun snap to Ryan Mallett. Mallett's pass is caught at the Redskins 43-yard line. Michael Campanaro on the reception, and that is going to be for 10 yards and a Ravens first down. So that is what you wanted to see from from Mallett earlier in the game. It's his 3rd try, and this time he connects with Campanaro on 3rd down. And
he and Campanaro, this is the 3rd shot they've taken at it. He and Campanaro obviously have a little something going. You know, there's always a guy you have that you practice with that you got a little bit better sense of how he's going to come out of his breaks, where to put the ball. Clearly, Mallett and Campanaro have that, just by evidence of the fact that Mallett seems to be coming back to him.
Campanero's only downside of his career has been the inability to stay healthy. This is 4th season. Mallett on first down, out of the gun, pocket collapsing, and he'll escape, but is tripped up and taken down back at the line of scrimmage. That's a big man to try to get free in the pocket.
Yeah, and strong enough to step out of that type of thing. I like the mechanics. You saw how he brought the ball to his body and protected it right away. Again, Ryan Mallett has talent. Make no mistake. Fell down the draft trust a little bit because of some things that are going on at Arkansas. Had some opportunities. He just needs snap. You need that Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hours. He needs his 10,000 hours to really develop as a pro quarterback.
He's getting plenty of hours in training camp and tonight in the preseason opener. He has worked the entire way with the first unit in training camp with Joe Flacco on the sideline. Inside handoff to Mizell. And Mizell gets around the edge inside the Redskins 40 down to the 38-yard line before Josh Harvey Clemens brings him down. Daquan Mizell, rookie free agent out of Virginia. I was saying earlier, Ozzie Newsome, Eric DeCosta, and their staff have just an amazing string going. They're trying to extend it to a 14th consecutive season where an undrafted rookie free agent makes this roster. That would be the 3rd longest streak of its kind in the NFL.
Nickname is Smoke. Love it. Great nickname.
You know a guy has quicks if you're calling him Smoke.
Yeah, you hope that's what it's for.
Mallett swing pass out of the backfield. Buck Allen doing a good job of eluding a tackle. They'll be taken down inside the 35, shy of the first down. Ryan Anderson with the tackle. I'm
not going to make a big deal of this, but this is the kind of accurate throw you need to see out of Ryan Mallett. I know this is a simple little flow. Look at this. Right into the lead glove. Bill Walsh was phobic about just put it in his lead glove. Let him get that downhill, get to the outside to convert on the first down if he can. That was a short but accurate pass by Ryan Mallett.
Now the Ravens will go for it on 4th down and 1. At the Washington 34, power formation, backs in the eye. Ortiz in front of Buck Allen. Max Williams in motion to give it to Ortiz, and the fullback goes up and over, and he will be close.
I love it. I hate it on 4th and inches to turn around and hand off to a guy that's standing 6 yards deep in the backfield. You know, you got to get 6 yards just to get even. Nice little changeup, used all over the league. Nice changeup by the give it to the fullback. Nice little ups by Ortiz as well.
So we saw Terrence West with a vertical in the first quarter and Ortiz here in the second quarter. And that keeps the offense on the field as we approach the 2-minute warning. 2:48 left in the half. The Ravens would like to see the offense consume most of the clock on this drive.
Kind of the area you might see a shot down the field, huh?
Off the play fake. We'll check down. Buck Allen with some room to run. He's inside the 25 down to the 24. He'll get 8 on the play before Josh Harvey Clemens can make the tackle. Take a look at that Ricky Ortiz vertical leap.
Yeah, we saw Terrence West go over the top for the first score. Now the fullback. And I tell you what, coming from the fullback position, that's hard to do. You're getting downhill, you gather yourself, you go up, but when you're standing right behind the quarterback to get that kind of vertical, that's harder to do.
So good-looking athlete out of Oregon State. An interesting kid, too, because Ortiz is the co-owner of an avocado farm in Mexico. I'm going to bet that $100,000 you were trying to get out of my pocket earlier, you never coached a player who owned an avocado farm in Mexico.
That is
This
true.
is the 2-minute warning.
2 minutes to play, first half of the preseason opener. It has been all Ravens. They lead 7-0 with a chance to extend the lead. 7-0 Ravens lead it. 2 minutes to play in the half. We mentioned the streak the Ravens have going 13 straight years with an undrafted rookie free agent making the team. Here's a couple of guys who have a shot to extend that streak to 14 years. Patrick Ricard, a defensive tackle who has really splashed in training camp. And Tim White has touched the ball a couple of times as a punt returner, but he's still waiting for that big play where he can light up this stadium. The list of names that precedes these guys includes a long list of not just guys who made the team, but then became impact players for the Ravens. Guys like Zach Orr, Bart Scott, Michael Pierce, the talented young defensive lineman, James Hurst, who could very well be seeing a lot of snaps from Marty Morningwig at right tackle this year. If not as a starter, then as the third tackle. Tim White trying to join that impressive list of Ravens players who have kept this string going for almost 14 years. Buck Allen on second down and short. He'll be about a half a yard shy of the first down. Down the field, and Evan Washburn.
And Jerry, another layer to that is the competition for those undrafted free agents is fierce, but agents across the league recognize that the odds of making the team, if you're a good player here in Baltimore, are good. They're not going to ignore you based off of not being drafted, and it's something that's given them a competitive edge in that free agent frenzy after the draft, guys.
Pick it up with Brian's comments on that after this play. Mallett with a third down toss. Mizell around the left side, and he'll stretch the ball forward good for the first down. Brian, how much of that has to do with Ozzie Newsome?
Huge. And I'm going to add another level to it because we used to have what we call the $1,000 derby. You got to realize the Ravens are not, and we're going to see him stretch out here for the first down. The Ravens aren't a team that spends a lot of money on undrafted free agents. You get through the draft, you know where you have to fill, you set the coaches and the personnel people together. They're scrambling on the phones, recruiting, and Ozzie used to dole it out. It's okay, I'll give you 1,000. You can give this guy 1,000. You can give this guy 2,000. And you go at some other teams giving them 15, 20, 25,000 as a signing bonus. The $1,000 derby, I used to call it with Ozzie Newsome, has yielded a lot of productivity.
Pass incomplete from Ryan Mallett to Taquan Mizell. Mizell, who got the first down, is another one on the list of undrafted rookie free agents. And he has a shot at making this team based largely on the impact he hopes to have in special teams. Second down and 10. Final minute of the first half. The Ravens working with a 7-0 lead. They'd love to double that by the break.
I'd watch Campanaro right here. He seems to be the guy.
Blitz pressure, almost intercepted. It was almost picked off by Deshazer Everett, who broke on the pass from Mallett to Campanaro.
He cracked the code as well. He saw the same thing I saw. You know what? Critical situation. This quarterback wants to go to number 12. See, that's where we're not on the same page. You zigged when I thought you were going to zag. Campanaro coming, planted, was going to break back out. Mallett didn't see it the same way.
This is where the Ravens want to see Ryan Mallett improve tonight. Third down, going 2 of 7 on third down conversions. Out of the gun on 3rd and 10. Good protection, pass complete. Max Williams, but he'll be taken down after a short gain inside the 20 by Nico Marley. And now the Ravens have to decide whether they send Justin Tucker and the field goal team on or go for it.
Yeah, go for it. What the heck? It's preseason. You know, that's one of those where the classic West Coast touchdown to check down. You look for down the field. If it's not there, don't force it. We're in field goal position. I'll drop it underneath. Maybe he makes a play, but I'm not going to sacrifice. In a normal game, field goal position, they may very well go for it here.
John Harbaugh not happy with the way the game is being managed at the moment. We'll check in with the coach when we come back. Satisfied with Brad Allen's explanation, so that brings the kicking team on, and Justin Tucker will have a second field goal try. Jerry Sandusky, Brian Billick, live from the Verizon broadcast booth in this preseason opener. Ravens up 7-0, looking to make it 10-0 at the break. This will make it a 37-yard field goal try for Tucker after another break.
Well, maybe he wasn't satisfied with the call. I don't know what the issue is here.
clearly has something to do with game management, because I'm not sure that the Ravens wanted the timeout, that they were docked.
Yeah. And that's when he was good. You know, somebody called it. And you get down to this far into the field, this is where it gets a little dicey in terms of communication with the officials. They're down there. You already mentioned the coach's box. You're only allowed to go so far. I never violated that at all.
Never.
Never.
You were always in the box.
Yeah. I'm the one innocent man in prison. That $75,000 they fined me was all just out of bounds.
Tucker from 37 yards splits the uprights, and the Ravens extend their lead to 10-0. You like that for Justin Tucker, since his 43-yard try in the first quarter hit off the upright. You don't ever want your kicker to feel anything but great about where he is. And Justin Tucker has been such a huge impact on this team. Almost perfect season a year ago. He caps the Geico scoring drive, 13 plays, 34 yards, 6 minutes and 4 seconds comes off the clock. And what we've seen from Ryan Mallett here in the first half, Coach, I think you can feel pretty good about Ryan Mallett's role as a backup quarterback moving forward. I don't think there's any sense of need that you have to rush out and find another. He can do the job.
Right. What we've seen today is not anything you'd necessarily see different with anybody you bring in this situation. I don't care how much veteran experience, the shuffling of the offensive line, trying to get the running game established. You don't have your top receivers in. We've not seen, obviously, Wallace. We've not seen Macklin. We've not seen Perriman. So given the first preseason game, what you're trying to get done, at the very least, I mean, certainly a lot to improve on, but Ryan Mallett, there is tape to look at, and it's okay. All right, so far so good.
10-0 lead for the Ravens. Final minute of the first half. And Justin Tucker will give the special teams a chance to cover another kick. Taken by Matt Hazel across the 15. And he'll be taken down in a crowd at the 23-yard line. Tim Williams, one of the young linebackers, picked up in the draft with the tackle. So a couple of the impact offensive players we're going to see as this preseason continues to unfold. Brian just mentioned Jeremy Macklin, the free agent wide receiver pickup from Kansas City. Pro Bowler a couple of years ago, and Danny Woodhead, who I think, Brian, is going to be Mr. Third Down in this offense.
No question. We talk about the ability to run the ball. I call them extended handoffs, those kind of throws out of the backfield that you'll get. You know, you can't put them in the running category because they're not runs, but that's what it will be for the Ravens. And so he's going to be a big pickup. Jeremy Macklin picking up those intermediate yards. You got to find some combination to replace Steve Smith and Dennis Pitta.
Colt McCoy in an obvious passing situation. His pass is caught out of the 30-yard line. Nice break on the ball by Brandon Boykin, a free agent pickup in the offseason, a veteran, a sixth-year veteran. Eagles' fourth-round pick back in 2012. Almost had a shot at breaking that ball up.
Yeah, and that we keep talking about this depth that we're developing in the secondary. Ravens fans know the last couple of years that's been an issue. Not necessarily the first-line depth, first-line starters, but the depth. We seem to have some depth at that position that Ozzie Newsome and John Harbaugh can feel good about.
McCoy on second down, lofts it to the far sideline. This one is picked off at the 45-yard line. It's Jalen Hill capping an impressive first half in his first NFL preseason game, as Jalen Hill saw that ball was underthrown from the jump and had a perfect jump on the ball.
Yeah, this is a bad throw by Colt McCoy. He's going to trail technique. He's going to have some help over the top. He can bide his time. He knows exactly where he is on the field to make the interception. He knew he had help over the top. And a little bit of pressure again. Skating off the block, Tyrus Bauer. Again, we talked about him, his athleticism and cover. They bring him on the inside. He can be a handful in terms of running out some blocks on the inside.
So I think Ravens fans can feel pretty excited about this team here in 2017. We did not know what this offense was going to bring to the table tonight. We had a suspicion this defense was going to be imposing. It is. And now it's starting to look imposing and deep with the play of some young players.
Ravens got all three timeouts.
Ryan Mallett completes it to Quincy Adebayo at the 44-yard line. That'll be good for a first down. And John Harbaugh is going to use one of those three timeouts, stopping the clock with 8 seconds left.
Baltimore with their first 30-second timeout.
And I think I understand the debate earlier here in the second quarter that John Harbaugh wasn't happy with. The Ravens were charged initially with the timeout when it was the Redskins who took the timeouts.
Well, that
and now we've seen they make the adjustment. So the Ravens with 8 seconds left, too far to attempt a field goal. In the regular season, you might trot Justin Tucker out here, but you're not going to do it now. They put 11 seconds, so you can get a pass down. You don't have to go Hail Mary here.
Well, but they're configured for it the way they're bunched up over in here. This looks like it may very well be that. And that's, nope, he's going to get it out. Maybe, can I get out of bounds? Get out of bounds.
And Taquan Mizell gets out of bounds with 6 seconds left in the half. He'll be at the 41-yard line. You're looking at a 59-yard field goal try if you send Tucker on here. Tucker is right there at the line of scrimmage, ready to answer the call if he is called, but it will be Ryan Mallett and the offense that stay on.
And regardless of how this turns out, these are the kind of reps, situational offense that John Harbaugh is going to love, because you've got on tape, all right, we're in this situation. Did you get the ball? Did you get out of bounds? What's the timing?
Mallett throws it incomplete at the 25-yard line. He was looking for Adebojo, and that leaves 1 second left on the clock, and now we will see Justin Tucker. So Tucker is going to try a 59-yard field goal that will close out the half. His career long is 61. A couple of years ago, he had a game winner in Detroit from 61 yards. We've seen him hit in practice, I won't say effortlessly, but he made it look effortless from as far out as 67. This from 59 yards on the final play of the first half. Sam Cook with a hold. Tucker's kick. He's got the accuracy. He's got the leg, and it is good. Justin Tucker from 59. Wow. To the delight of Ravens fans to close out the first half.
That'd have been good from 69. That's spectacular.
So Justin Tucker can feel good about his night now. 59 yards. He had plenty of legs, and he had it right down the middle. Halftime in Baltimore with the Ravens in front, 13-0. Set for the start of the second half in Baltimore. Ravens in front, 13-0. The lights are on all around town, and I think Ravens fans are going to light up when you think about what we saw in the first half, Brian, from some of the younger players like Jalen Hill, an undrafted rookie free agent, trying to find a spot at the slot corner position, and he played well in the first half.
Both in terms of the secondary and on special teams, which you've got to have that carryover. With Jalen here, you can see a little bit of rush on the quarterback, but he's right under, almost comes up with the interception in the right spot. Then you're going to see the physicality in the tackle. Nice, bring the shoulder pads, hit below the shoulder pad level. Nice trail, timed on an underneath throw, come up with the big interception. Good night so far for Jalen Hill.
In the second half, we'll see more of Jalen Hill, as well as a lot of the other younger players trying to make their mark. They've been in camp now for 2.5 weeks. They, to a man, have said they're tired of hitting each other. They're tired of playing against the guys that they've become friends with. Tonight was their night to try to elevate their play and go against an opponent. It is a big step for a young player. And with the Ravens not having training camp open to fans this year because of the construction of the team facility, this is their only second opportunity to be at the stadium in front of a lot of Ravens fans. Last week they were down at the Naval Academy in front of a nice crowd, but nothing like this. And when you are a young player, you dream about playing in front of a big crowd in the NFL.
And that is part of it. I told the story before. We had a young wide receiver on from Minnesota. We used to train in Mankato State. And they had a small little stadium, about 8,000. And we were going out for the first scrimmage. Says, Coach, this is the biggest crowd I've ever been in front of. I thought, oh boy, we are in for a ride with this guy. But you talked about, and they miss having the fans out there. They'd love to have it.
And they'll be back next year.
Yeah, my biggest concern, and John and I talked about this, camp already feels like you've broken camp. It feels like the regular season. You don't have the fans around for energy. You're not starting and ending camp. You're not breaking camp per se. It's a long time. You come September, it feels like you've already been at this a long time. He'll find the right way to keep his players juvenated and fresh. But that was my concern being out of camp, is it didn't feel like a training camp.
Because the fans really do bring a measure to, whether you're a veteran like Ben Watson or you are a rookie like Tyus Bowser, having fans around you just lifts your energy, takes your play to another level. Bowser very impressive in the first half, as now James Hurst will see if his night is done. We can only presume the offense will have the ball first. Tim White will field the kick on the run, across the 10 to the 15, stutter step, and he gets tripped up at the 20, and flags follow him to the turf. Point out the stutter step because, Brian, I've heard you and several coaches talk to young guys. One cut, go north. Don't stutter step.
Yeah, if you stop, you're dead. You know, just in this league, the athletes are too good. You got to find that one cut. You design it that way. Beyond the fact that it's not as productive, what happens typically? Now you get a holding call. You hesitate. You think you can spin to the outside. The blocker feels like he's doing his job, and all of a sudden he feels his defender leave him. Now in an open space, it's hard. It's hard not to reach up and grab.
2 fouls by the receiving team on the play. Illegal block in the back, number 34 of the receiving team. That penalty is declined. Holding, number 69 of the return team. That penalty will be accepted. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Frustrating for Jerry Rosberg, who has spent so much time in training camp working on these exact scenarios, only to see a penalty there, and it backs up the offense. That makes life considerably more difficult for Dustin Vaughn, who comes in at quarterback now. Dustin Vaughn, a second-year quarterback out of West Texas A&M. He was on the Cowboys' active roster all of 14, didn't play. Bills practice squad in 15, cut by the Steelers last year. He's got a shot with the Ravens here. On first down, they give it to Mizell right up the middle, and Mizell will get out to the 11-yard line, get maybe a yard and a half.
This is what I want to see from Mizell. We know what he can do.
Check that Bobby Rainey. I apologize.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Bobby Rainey. It was interesting to visit with Bobby Rainey the other day. He talked about establishing a role here. He knows that he's got to be able to do a lot of different things if he's going to be on this roster.
Bobby Rainey started here as an undrafted rookie free agent. He has spent time with Cleveland, Tampa, and the Giants, and he said his experience, the Ravens organization, is a cut above anything else he's experienced in the NFL. Long hands it off to Rainey, tries to bounce around the outside, and he'll be forced down to the turf. Shy of the first down, out of the 16. It'll set up a third down at about 3. Fish Smithson on the stop for the Redskins. Not a name you hear every day. Fish.
Yeah, we got to find the genesis of that. You know, Bobby Rainey is, like you said, he's got some experience in here. He knows also he's got to show up on special teams. We keep coming back to that same theme, I know, Jerry. But again, this second half, a lot of it is players fighting for that role. People will say, yeah, okay, we're in the second half of the game. This is where it gets exciting. You have people fighting for careers right now. It's exciting.
Lifelong dreams on the line tonight. Mizell in the backfield. Vaughn, pocket collapsing, and he's going to be spun down back at the 10-yard line. You saw something before he did, Brian. What was it?
Boy, you saw Mizell made that inside, we used to call it Texas cut inside. If he had had just a little bit more time, he was about to catch that thing. He had totally faked out the defensive back. If Vaughn could have got the ball out, we might have seen a big play down the middle of the field by Mizell.
Kenny Allen will handle the punting duties in the second half. Rookie out of Michigan. One of the few guys who can say he has played for both Jim and John Harbaugh now. Kicking out of the end zone. And that will sail out of bounds into the Ravens bench area. The Redskins will have excellent field position to start their first drive of the second half. Ravens fans, enter for a chance to become the Southwest Airlines captain of the game at BaltimoreRavens.com. You can be on the field with the team captains for the coin toss. That'd be a blast. All in your own custom jersey, plus a whole lot more. Ever been on the field for the coin toss?
Have I been on the field?
Okay, out at the logo?
You know, I have not. I have not.
Well, that's when it gets real. Nate Sudfeld, the new quarterback now for the Redskins. And look on the edge of the defense. Keep an eye on number 56, Tim Williams. Third-round draft pick for the Ravens, a tremendous pass rusher. Give us to P. Ryan, sweeping around the left side. He's got some room inside the Ravens' 40-yard line. He'll get 11 on the play and a first down right out of the gate.
Well, this is the best field position, obviously, that Washington's had to start. We saw a lot of great field position starts for the Ravens offense in the first half. Now Washington, Jay Gruden, all but with this group, is look, can we capitalize on this? Can we get some plays? Again, this is an area of the field. Automatic first down or a first down, you cross the 40. This is typically where you see maybe a vertical throw. They really like this young man right here, Davis. You might watch for a vertical throw here. This is where you tend to see it.
Robert Davis split wide, gives to P. Ryan off left tackle. P. Ryan taken down. And on the stop, Bronson Kalfusi, draft pick last year, spent the entire season on IR. And he's a big body to go along with the likes of Carl Davis. He's part of that front seven we were talking about, Brian, where they have actually too much talent. too many bodies, then they're going to have roster spots available in the defensive line.
Yeah, and with the rosters staying at full force until the very last cut, we talked about this the other day, Jerry. This is going to be interesting as to how people approach that, whether we see more trades going into the last week or just after the final preseason game.
Redskins opening drive of the second half. Quick pass complete down to the 30-yard line. Jeremy Sprinkle with the catch. Chuck Clark, the rookie 6th-round draft pick out of Virginia, on the tackle.
Yeah, Clark, he's an interesting guy. This guy played cornerback and safety in college. So again, the versatility. Can you show up on special teams? Can you go inside and outside? Maybe a good developmental squad candidate.
Third down and 3. B. Ryan in the backfield. Nate Sudfeld looking to throw. Blitz pressure coming. Sudfeld's pass is incomplete. It was a well-thrown ball. And they had the target on Matt Hazel, but Hazel couldn't hang on. Reggie Porter had the coverage. Yeah, Reggie kicking team on for the Redskins.
Reggie Porter, another one of those undrafted free agents, battling for a spot here.
Dustin Hopkins will come on to attempt a 49-yard kick.
You just saw Tucker hit a 59. A little pressure for the other guy going in. Okay, we'll spot you 10 yards. Can you do what Tucker did?
Redskins trying to get on the board for the first time tonight. A 49-yard field goal attempt. Dustin Hopkins, and it is good. And with 10:57 to play in the third quarter, Washington scores for the first time. Ravens 13, Redskins 3. It's the first of 10 home games for the Ravens. Here's the home schedule for the 2017 season. It starts week 2 against the Browns, week 4 Pittsburgh. Brian, that comes right after the trip to London against Jacksonville. That is a tough back-to-back.
Yeah, that was interesting that they chose not to take the bye after the trip to London, but it was so early they just decided that wasn't the time for the bye. I don't know that they knew they were going to have to end up with Pittsburgh when they decided not to do that, but that's going to be an interesting early go for them.
Well, the night's work done for Terrell Suggs and several of the veterans. Now Suggs will be working the sidelines, talking up the rookies a little bit. How much do veteran players influence rookies? You want your coaches' technique, but what is it veteran players bring that coaches can't?
A player like Terrell Suggs can get done in a simple sentence, a simple observation that can take you a month of Sundays as a coach to teach on the field. Just because of that reference frame, because the player he'll be able to speak in the language that the players understand, that I'm here, I felt that, I know what you're feeling right now, fight that, do this, step here, do. I mean, it's a huge advantage to have veterans like Terrell Suggs on the team.
Tim White will get another shot at trying to return a kick here. Takes it at the 2, brings it across the 10, and he's not going to get very far. He is twisted down at about the 12-yard line. Terrell Suggs is more than just the edge setter. He is the tone setter in intros, the way Ray Lewis once did. He has his own flavor, his own personality.
And you talk about the legacy of the Ravens and the mindset and play like a Raven and all the things that have been here for a long, long time. That takes a transition. The young player, I remember how young Terrell Suggs was just a rookie when he came in.
A 19-year-old rookie.
Yeah, a very young rookie, and had to learn what that mentality is. And now you see that transition. He turns into the father, so to speak.
Dustin Vaughn off the play fake, chased from the pocket and taken down inside the 10-yard line. Nico Marley with his 3rd tackle of the game. And Dustin Vaughn for a second straight possession, starting inside his own 20-yard line and not having much success.
Well, with the enhanced emphasis on the running game, what goes hand in hand with it is that you hope to have an enhanced play action game. And like we talked about earlier with Brian Mallett, Colt McCoy, you've seen it. The hardest thing for a quarterback is to take a snap, turn your back to the defense, not see rotation, come out of the play fake and see pressure.
Bobby Rainey checks into the backfield. Give the inside handoff, bounces it to the outside, has some room. Rainey. It's back close to the original line of scrimmage where the Ravens will face a 3rd down and long. You mentioned about Bobby Rainey. I think it's very influential for younger players to hear a 6-year veteran saying, if I'm going to make this team, it will be on special teams.
And it shows that there is a path. that it may be, you know, I always used to tell the players when I had them, I said, look, you don't cut yourself, okay? Believe me, when it comes time, I will do that. Don't look at the numbers and figure that it's this way or that way. You just play, you learn. You don't know when you're up. Injury, maybe developmental squad. It may not be this year. It may be a path. You got to get them to understand that it is a long path sometimes.
Dustin Vaughn's pass is complete, and that will be close to a first down. Had to get out to the 23-yard line. Griff Whalen on the receiving end, and he will move the stick. So Dustin Vaughn picks up his first NFL first down for the Ravens.
Yeah, nice play by Whalen. One of my Stanford Cardinal. Love it when I see a Cardinal do well. Cardinal, not Cardinals, right? Just a little stop right. Nice delivery by Vaughn. Timing. You know, the defense knows where the chains are as well. That was a well-timed throw. You had to get it right to the chains to get the first down. They did just that.
They brought Whalen in when Campanaro was on the PUP list to start training camp, so now they're both competing. Here's to Quan Mizell right up the middle. It's a yard or two before Anthony Lanier brings him down.
And this is the point I was going to make earlier, Jerry, about Mizell. We know what he can do out of the backfield. We know some of the things on the perimeter. But can he give you that element? Even a Danny Woodhead on his best year, he may have 70, 80 receptions. He's going to have 100 carries out of the backfield. What can he do something with that, even on a downhill play, all but with an undersized player?
Jerry Sandusky, Brian Billick with you live from the Verizon broadcast booth.
A shot at Danny Woodhead.
He's going to have a big year for the Ravens this year. Vaughn. Pressure, sacked back at the 15-yard line. Anthony Lanier again coming up the middle, and now Dustin Vaughn is going to be looking at a third down and forever.
Yeah, and this is the pressure in the second half. You have different line combinations, guys working together, the communication. What comment are you with me? You the guard, am I snuggling with the center? Am I snuggling with the tackle? All of a sudden the tackle thought, wait a minute, I was getting help. Or the guard thought, that's tough on the quarterback right now. You don't have a lot of time to see what's going on down the field. It's hard not to take a peek at that pass rush.
Mizell in the backfield, Vaughn under center. Mizell will get the carry, and he has nowhere to go. That'll bring the punt team on as Lyndon Trail made it a very short trail for Quan Mizell. Tonight's Ravens Game Day Network presented by Geico. Kenny Allen on to punt the ball away. Following the break, we're going to hear from a guy with great Baltimore roots. Rudy Gay will be joining Evan Washburn on the sidelines. Allen's punt, fielded by Kendall Fuller. Fuller working his way along the far sideline, gets across the 40-yard line out to the 43. 13-3, Ravens in front of the Redskins. Third quarter in the preseason opener.
Ravens football is brought to you by M&T Bank, the official bank of your Baltimore Ravens. By MedStar Health, the official medical team of the Baltimore Ravens. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. By Verizon, the official wireless voice, internet, and cable service provider of the Baltimore Ravens. And by Advanced Business Systems, official business solutions provider to the Baltimore Ravens.
Not all the stars wear helmets tonight in Baltimore. Let's take you down to the field. Evan Washburn standing by with Baltimore basketball legend Rudy Gay.
Jerry, thanks. Yeah, 12 years in the NBA now for Rudy Gay. It's kind of crazy to think about, but Baltimore's home. You bounced around the league a little bit. What's it mean when you get to get back here and be around these fans that love you so much?
It feels great, man. First time when I stop down in Baltimore, I go to Jimmy's, get a crab cake, go home, see my people, and just reflecting on what it used to be like being here.
It's funny, we were talking before we came on here about your passion as a Ravens fan. You saw Jerome Bettis at one point, and you couldn't even talk to him because that's how deep this fandom runs.
Yeah, I'm not a Ravens fan, I'm a Raven, so it's a little different.
What's it like when you're sidelined? I mean, you're a professional athlete, you played at the highest level, but to see these guys, their speed, their size, what comes to mind to you?
This is respect. Obviously, me actually being a professional athlete, I know what goes into them being this big and being able to move like they do. So it's a lot of respect that goes, from one sport to another.
I'm sure it may be Super Bowl related, but your favorite memory as a Raven fan growing up?
I say Flacco to Jacoby. Who's Jacoby, right?
Yeah, the Miracle in Denver.
Yeah, in Denver. I was getting ready for a game, and I was watching the game, and I didn't do my whole pregame because I was watching the game. So, y'all messed me up that day.
The fandom is real. Well, you're here for a good reason. I always give back to this community, but you have an AAU tournament. What can you tell us about what's going on in Dundalk this weekend?
We're bringing kids from all around the city and all around the country to come play. It's the top D1 prospects all in the country. We're going to just give them a chance to go out there and show what they can do. I mean, this is a city where people kind of get lost, but yeah, there's a lot of talent here, so we want to give people from the city a chance to compete against the rest of the country.
Rudy, great to see you. Good luck this weekend. Enjoy the game.
All right, I heard y'all need a quarterback, man. Let me get my.
Is it quarterback? You said tight end might be your position.
You can't put a position on me, man.
Jerry, he's X. He's the next Cordell Stewart, even though I know that's a Steeler reference.
We'll forgive you for the Steeler reference. If Rudy wants a shot, I believe he's enough of an athlete. He might get that shot. Redskins looking at a 2nd and short. Mac Jones with the carry has nowhere to go. Tyus Bowser tying him up in the backfield. But several of you have your thoughts on social media, so let's check in on Twitter. Question coming in question for our broadcast team. If you want to ask us a question, especially Brian. Brian's big on Twitter as well. Use hashtag #RavensBooth, and then you can look for your answer here on the air. Brian or I will answer it. I'm gonna bet heavily it'll be Brian answering your Twitter question. I'll defer to Brian. 3rd down and 4. Nate Sudfeld. His pass sailed high and incomplete. Good coverage on the play by Trevin Wade, who was just picked up this past week. Trevin Wade trying to work his way into that rotation in the secondary.
And the idea that these young players also, I talked earlier about, telling players don't cut yourself, I'll do it. All these young players now, I got to get tape, and it will diminish a little bit, notwithstanding the 20-20-20 rotation that John plans with the starters. But because of that, they're going to have a lot more opportunities in substantive games like next week and the week after that to not only show the Ravens but show tape for the rest of the league.
Keenan Reynolds back for the punt return, and he'll let the ball sail into the end zone for a touchback. Sometimes as a returner, the best thing you do is make a good decision. Reynolds did that there. Ravens offense on the field when we get back. They lead at 13-3 in the 3rd. Brian, I know this is a passing league in the NFL, but under John Harbaugh, running has been the key. His first 5 years, Ravens 5th most rushing yards in the NFL. They went to the playoffs 5 straight years. Since then, the running numbers have been down. The playoff numbers have been down. Why?
Well, you know me and analytics, and that one you can go deep into the numbers and say, you know what? I think maybe we should run the ball better because it's pretty clear cut. When we do, we've got the defense. A lot of teams around the league want to run the ball more. The New Orleans Saints say, okay, they bring in Adrian Peterson. We're going to run the ball more. I don't think they have the defense to do that. You've got to have the good combination. You got a great kicking game. You're playing a top 10 defense. You have the elements to run the ball well, but you've got to earn that, and they've got to commit to it. They seem like they want to. If they do, it's going to set up the big plays down the field because they have the kind of athletes in Wallace and Perriman and now Macklin that if they can get the running game going, if you have to build that box to stop the running game, now one-on-one on the outside, you're going to make some big plays.
Taquan Mizell gets the running game going with a 6-yard pickup on 1st down, and it is that 3-part equation: offense, defense, and special teams. So if you know you've got the defense to keep your team in the game, and the special teams to finish off a game, if you can get the lead in the 4th quarter, I think that's where a lot of the good running teams really roll up the numbers. Mizell again with a hole, and he gets around the edge out close to the 34-yard line. That'll move the chains and give the Ravens a fresh set of downs. So if this were the regular season, this is exactly what you're talking about. You get the lead, you put the team on the ropes. If you can pound the ball, then you wear out the opponent, especially when you're at home.
Because one, with Sam Cook, if you can push yourself off from inside the 20, you're going to win the field position battle. That was the way we played it early in my time in Baltimore. If we could just get control of the field position battle, we knew our defense could deliver. We'd keep ourselves in the position instead of Tucker. Of course, we had Matt Stover. I hope people in Baltimore realize how lucky they are. Had 2 great kickers like Matt Stover and Tucker. But you're exactly right. This is kind of equation. We see another little counter. Mizell brings a different element to the counter play. We saw earlier with Terrence West where it was more physical. You're going to bust through a tackle. Mizell, you get that counter, all of a sudden now he gets up in that second level awfully quick.
8 carries, 33 yards as he tries to impress Marty Morningwig and John Harbaugh. New quarterback for the Ravens on this drive, Josh Woodrum, first-year quarterback out of Liberty. Spent some time on the Bears practice squad last season. Dropped from the Bills roster in the spring, trying to find a way to hook on with the Ravens. And they give it to Bobby Rainey, who is hit in the backfield, stretches forward for about a yard pickup. It'll be 3rd down and short as we approach 2.5 minutes left here in the 3rd quarter. And it's also a formula you can win with on the road in the NFL. I don't know that there's any professional league that is as hard to win on the road as the NFL, and that is all about great defense and pack a good running game.
Yeah, if you're going to play great defense, it goes part and parcel with the overall. I mean, yeah, you'd like to play great defense, lead the league in rushing, and also have a Pro Bowl quarterback. Okay, but it doesn't always work that way. The money only goes so far, so you've got to work in combination. And with the defense and special teams, ooh, got to snap it away from us there. Oh, this is where all of a sudden you get a big play.
And Mizell almost broke it after the sloppy snap to Josh Woodrum, who almost lost the ball on the shotgun exchange. Mizell almost broke free. Instead, the punt team will have to come on.
And this is the kind of plays in preseason you get sometimes. I'm going to keep something in line here. What am I going to do? Lose another couple yards? Who cares? We're going to punt, and now try to make something happen.
So Mizell has shown flashes in training camp as well as flashes tonight, and that will certainly draw some attention in the tape room. Kenny Allen with his punt. Kendall Fuller awaits. Fields it inside the 15, and he will be stopped right at the 15. 1:15 left to play here, 3rd quarter. It's been all Ravens. They lead it 13-3. Made by the Ravens during this season. Constellation will send one group of students to visit the Power Up exhibit at the Maryland Science Center. To learn more, visit BaltimoreRavens.com/sacks for science. The Ravens had 31 sacks a year ago. They want to increase that number significantly this year, and they've seen some pass rush pressure. Brent Urban, very impressive in the first half, Brian.
Yeah, and again, the key is the vogue thing in the NFL right now is pressure up the middle. If you can get pressure up the middle, everybody concentrates on the outside. Obviously, your tackles are important, but pressure in the middle. I think the Ravens have some players that can bring pressure up in the middle.
Redskins will go to the ground game. P-Ryan off right tackle, got a couple of yards as we approach the final minute of the 3rd quarter. Not a lot of household names that will be playing from this point forward, but guys that could be a part of this 2017 roster. Peanut Nwasu, Bronson Calfusi, Patrick Ricard, all guys who have been impressive in training camp and figured to round out the depth, the key word we've been discussing tonight. As the Ravens get set, figure out their 53-man roster. Brandon Boykin is at cornerback. Better looking for a spot. There's a potential sack. Calfusi can't get to the quarterback. Nate Sudfeld gets rid of the ball, but that's the kind of pressure Dean Pease is looking for from Bronson Calfusi.
Well, you just mentioned Calfusi from my alma mater, BYU. Now, as a free runner, when you're unblocked, it's hard not to get to the quarterback. But still, whatever the scheme was of the Redskins, he took advantage of the fact, didn't have to fight off a block, came inside. You'd like to see him break down and take on the quarterback. But it's, again, nice scheme by Dean Pease to give these guys an opportunity to make a play.
Leaves the Redskins in 3rd down. Washington 1 of 9 on 3rd down conversions. Ravens bring the blitz. And it works. Pass way off the mark, intended for Robert Davis. Nate Sudfeld nowhere close to the target. Punt team on for the Redskins. But whether you have the first unit, the second unit, the third unit, it's not about depth chart. It's about consistency. It's about culture. It's about playing to the scheme. Dean Pease has shown in his time as the defensive coordinator here, he has a real talent for finding a role for every player on his defense.
And utilizing. He's gone through some situations with injuries where he's had to adapt. Dean has done a phenomenal job. I'd like to see Dean get an opportunity maybe to head coach. It's tough when you're at the age that Dean and I are for some people, but yeah, I thought maybe with the Bruce Arians might give him a chance.
Keenan Reynolds with a punt return. He's got one man to beat. Tripped up at the 40 and taken down at the 32-yard line. The former quarterback at Navy trying to find a way back to the roster on special teams with an explosive play.
And these are the kind of operative. What did we say earlier about special teams, Barry? You got one, or Jerry, you get one cut, right? Don't mess around with this thing. And you can see with Keenan, he obviously a tremendous athlete, great local fan favorite. But he had one cut, one move, saw where the hold was, and go. You can see right here. He's out one step, boom, and go. Now just turn on the speed. Don't dance around. Don't try to do too much. Just go. Nice balance. Excellent play.
A 48-yard punt return. And the best special teams play by any returner so far tonight. Puts the Ravens in great field position. Josh Woodrum at quarterback. He's going deep. He's got a man White at the far. White with a touchdown catch. Tim White got deep, and Josh Woodrum found him on a 33-yard toss.
Keenan Reynolds, a big part of that, excited about setting his team up. How often do you see it? You get a big return, you cross the 40-yard line, you come back and throw up that vertical shot.
We told you would see some young players pop tonight. We talked about Tim White early. They got him the ball here in the third quarter. He came through. Josh Woodrum, not one of the names we talked about because Woodrum came into camp late following Joe Flacco's back problems. When the Ravens had to go find a third quarterback, Woodrum was the second third quarterback they found. And all of a sudden, he's the guy who finds the end zone with the touchdown toss. Justin Tucker on for the extra point try. And Tucker's kick is good.
Yeah, this is as simple as a screwdriver. We start on the 40. You go as fast as you can. I'll throw it as far as I can. Nice job being the DB. Actually has to wait for it a little bit. Nice job catching, waiting and catching the ball in behind. Feels good as a quarterback. That one's pretty simple. Just it's the old trash bucket throw. Put it down at the end of the goal line, throw it there, and see if someone can come up with it.
But it's a lot more fun when that trash can comes to life like Tim White does. Makes a little adjustment. It makes you look really good. Played his college ball at Liberty. And I'm going to think he probably hasn't had that kind of a crowd greet him after a throw like he just did here.
And now Tim White, he catches a touchdown. I go back out and you got to go do special teams. That's what you're talking about with role players. That all of a sudden you got to make that transition. That okay, I'm gonna catch a touchdown. Oh, by the way, I do have to go back down and cover a kicker.
And we've talked about Jerry Rosburg's special teams units extensively tonight, and that's because it is such a vital part of the Ravens' approach. Remember, John Harbaugh's background is as a special teams coordinator. They emphasize it in every practice, and it was Keenan Reynolds' punt return that set up the opportunity to put the ball up top and get the touchdown pass converted. Tucker not messing around this time as he kicks it deep into the end zone for the touchback. Matt Hazel won't bring that one out.
And I think John has seen was interesting talk. We asked about, okay, on kickoffs, are you going to kick it? Are you going to for a return? Because they could kick it out virtually every time. Right. And he looked at us like, no, why would I do that? We got to find out if we can cover kicks. They've had a fair amount of them now. It may be, okay, we've seen on tape what we need to see of our kickoff team. Because it is obviously a dangerous play. You don't want to get anybody hurt. So they may decide, okay, we've got enough good tape for kickoff. We'll go ahead and kick it at the end zone.
Well, coaches are a lot like parents. They don't have favorites, but they do like to see some of their prodigy succeed a little more than others. John Harbaugh was just thrilled to see Keenan Reynolds break off a 48-yard punt return. Puts the Ravens in front 20-3 on the final play of the third quarter. Nate Sudfeld going up top, and his pass is caught inside the Ravens' 45-yard line. Matt Hazel with the catch on the, check that, Robert Davis with the catch on the final play of the quarter. Well, Keenan Reynolds went 48 yards. He was thrilled, and John Harbaugh pumped for him. The Ravens lead it 20-3 after 3. Geico scoring drive puts the Ravens up 20-3, and this is, Brian, the kind of drive you like to see. One play. 33 yards.
Does one play constitute a drive? that's one of those semantical things we could debate for a little bit, but you love it just the same.
It's when you just jump into the driver's seat and the car's already moving, thanks to Keenan Reynolds. Mac Brown in the backfield. Nate Sudfeld stays quarterback as the Redskins take possession to start the fourth quarter. Brown stretches the ball forward. Bam Bradley bringing him down. Some of the young players who are in there now you want to keep an eye on. Third-round draft pick Chris Wormley. Bam Bradley, a rookie free agent out of Pitt, trying to earn one of those inside linebacker spots. But Wormley is a big-bodied kid. Played for Jim Harbaugh at Michigan. 6'5", 298. Good-looking athlete. Trying to see if he can't play his way into some more regular season rotations.
Yeah, not like we said, not flashy, but very reliable, which is what you need on the inside. You guys that gobble up blocks, be where you're supposed to be doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Almost picked off by Trevin Wade. Ravens brought blitz pressure up the middle, and Trevin Wade, a late camp pickup, has had a nice couple of plays tonight for the Ravens. And you got to believe if you had a brother coaching in college, that is a terrific pipeline because you can cut through all the BS and just go to your brother and say, okay, quality, caliber of guy. Right. Is he going to show up in the fourth quarter? Do I have to worry about any headaches?
You know what I'm looking for. Is this guy going to be able to play for me? You're right. Great opportunity, great pipeline into what is obviously becoming a really good program again in Michigan.
Overnight, no surprise. A pair of brothers who know how to coach. Sudfeld pass complete inside the 35 and taken down hard at the 31-yard line. Coming down with the reception. Lassa Garner, big hit by Otha Foster. Bam Bradley.
And this is where, particularly when you get in the fourth quarter, this is the challenge for a secondary, because so much of it is communication and getting used to one another. Do you know where I am? Do I know where you are in relationship to where in a certain drop?
What's the coverage?
Yeah, right. How am I getting home tonight?
I mean, we joke about that, but these guys have never even been to downtown Baltimore. This is the second time these young guys have been to downtown Baltimore. They were here for an open practice earlier in training camp. They couldn't find a harbor if you put them outside the stadium.
And it is interesting with these young players. And I mean, that's why you get into coaching too, the ability to work with these young players. And it's tough because for some of them it's going to be a stretch.
Baltimore is challenging the ruling on the field of a completed pass. We will review the play.
John Harbaugh threw the challenge flag. So it's under the hood or in front of the surface, however you want to call it. Brought to you by Toyota, as Brad Allen will take a look now. They bring the tablet out to the referee at the 20-yard line. We'll take a look at what Brad Allen is looking at. Brian, you make the call.
Yeah, it comes back to possession on the ball. Is it a catch? Did he hold it long enough? That one looks like it was moving around a little bit. I will tell you this. I've been at this game man and boy for 45 years, Jared. And the key is...
How much of it is man, how much of it is boy?
I know what I don't know. There's a lot of things I know, but you got to know what you don't know. I don't know what a catch is in this league anymore. I really don't. It's so minute sometimes in terms of possession through and did you finish, an act common to the game, a lot of things, and I realize they're trying to clean it up. Again, they're looking at the new tablet, he's talking to New York right now. New York has that's the one thing I question about that, and I like where we're going. I like that we've gotten out of going into the booth on the sideline. It goes more fluid, but quite frankly, the officials sitting there listening to people in New York going, okay, you want me to call it how? But because think about it, when anytime you get in a call, there's a catch on the sideline. He'll go to the line judge. What did you see? He'll see the back judge. What did you see? Well, now he's got another view up above that can get to him directly. I don't know that you need the tablet to sort through that. It's simply tell me what you saw, and if it's definitive for you, I'm going to go with it, and that's what they're going to do here.
Which is what they do in baseball. They just put headsets on the umpiring crew, and they listen to the league office, and they just relay the call.
I think this, again, I applaud the move. This is about, we're still leaving control of the game on the field. Now, you're not really, because Alberto Riveron, the new head of officials, this is coming from New York, and they've got a better chance of getting it right. We've got the technology. It's like the $6 million man. We can build this, right? We have the technology. We can do this. You know how much I love tennis. When we can see a tennis ball instantly, whether it's within just an absolute scintilla of in or out, we have the technology to speed this up. I think we're going to get to the point where we'll do away with this altogether. It's just communication. Yeah, we saw it. The ball bounced in. Yeah, the ball came out. Yeah, he crossed the goal line. I think we're going to get there.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field has been changed. The receiver did not complete the process of the catch. It's an incomplete pass. Baltimore is not charged a timeout, and it has another challenge. It will be 4th down from the 43-yard line.
And coaches have to practice too. This is part of it. Am I going to use the challenge? I always loved it with the coach because it's you can't see anything. You're listening to coaches up in the booth. Coach, bounced in, it bounced in. Or no, he caught it, it's caught. I promise it's a catch. You look up at the board after you throw the challenge ball, and it bounced twice as in. It's like, guys, what? You're killing me here. What is it you're looking at?
Because you don't want your coaches to lead to watch with emotions.
Exactly right. And that's why you count on the booth maybe to have a little more detachment, but it doesn't always work out that way.
Jerry Sandusky, Brian Billick with you live from the Verizon broadcast booth. 4th quarter, the preseason opener. The Ravens have been impressive, 20-3. The defense simply outstanding, and the offense has shown some real flashes. A good dose of the running game. First half, offensive line looks strong. Keenan Reynolds here in the second half with a 48-yard punt return. He'll let that one bounce inside the 5, and it will trickle into the end zone for a touchback. Good decisions by Keenan Reynolds. 13 and a half minutes left to play. Preseason game number 1. 20-3, Ravens in front of the Redskins, approaching the triple-digit mark in the running game. Brian, total yards, the Ravens with the edge. I think the thing John Harbaugh might be happiest about, only 4 penalties. That is a small number for a first preseason game, to say the very least.
And turnovers. Lack of turn. My drawing's terrible, but lack of turnovers, particularly for first preseason game.
And a look at the offensive play of the game. It came from Josh Woodrum to Tim White. A couple of
good catch.
Free agents. White with the adjustment.
Leighton behind him. Doesn't matter. Touchdown.
And that's where we stand. 20-3. Ravens in front. 14:04 left to play in the ball game. And that, to a casual viewer, a casual listener, might not be a big deal. If you are a rookie free agent, a rookie, a bubble veteran who's been in camp for a couple of weeks, you want every second of that 14 minutes to show that you belong in the consideration. You cannot make the team tonight. You could probably lose your job tonight, so you want to make sure you just stay atop the coach's preference order. Hands it off to Mizell. Mizell will be taken down after a gain to about the 24-yard line. Mizell and Patrick Ricard, Tim White, all the young undrafted rookie free agents trying to extend that streak to 14 years in a row where an undrafted rookie player makes this roster. It's a gold standard in this organization that year after year they can go out and find those guys, and not just find a guy who's the 53rd man on the roster, but a guy that Dean Pease can use, Jerry Rosberg can use, Marty Morningweg can use, and John Harbaugh can rely on. Malik goes in motion. Gives it to Mizell, cuts it back at the numbers, and will be taken down to the 26-yard line. Tonight's broadcast on the Ravens Game Day Network, presented by Geico.
No, you talk about making the roster, not making the roster. These players right now recognize, okay, they're going to keep 53 players, but there's going to be 1,696 players kept in the National Football League, league-wide. And that's what this tape is all about right now, is getting myself on tape, showing some place where I can get a spark, not only for this organization, they all want to stay here, but can someone else, because you know what? Somebody else on some of the team probably liked you as well, and has their eye on you to see if you're going to make it with the Ravens and be pushing for his organization. Hey, let's bring this guy in, even if it comes down to a roster spot or obviously with the developmental squad.
Redskins player injured will step aside. Keenan Reynolds started to shine tonight in the preseason opener. Tim White with a touchdown catch here in the second half. We saw the athleticism. This is a guy whose athletic ability expands far beyond just football. He competed in the triple jump in the Olympic trials.
You know, had the chance to compete in the Olympic trials, which was really fun. You know, 22,000 fans out there, and, you know, at Eugene, Oregon, we had, you know, I went out there and, you know, thought I did pretty well, you know, for what the amount of training that I had, but, you know, I went out there, I had fun and competed, and, you know, who gets to say they competed in Olympic trials, right?
To say that you competed in the triple jump in the Olympic trials is a pretty good indicator, Brian, that you have special gifts as an athlete.
Well, he obviously has the speed as well, but the fact that he's a triple jumper, you've got explosion, you've got
body
height.
control.
Yeah, I love that combination.
Woodrum keeps it on the redraw. It'll slide down to the first down to the 40-yard line. That's one of the benefits of having a third-string quarterback in preseason. You're never going to run that with Ryan Mallett or Joe Flacco.
Right.
So you can at least give your lineman a taste of, in the event we were to run a play like this is what it would look like.
And I'm not absolutely sure it was designed that way. It was a little fumble low. I don't know if he didn't pull it off, but a nice job. And that's the challenge for the defense. As you get to part of the game, you can tear up the game plans. You're just calling it as you go. You have no idea what the scheme is. There's no sheet to go out. Well, they like to do this on second meeting, whatever. You're just calling it at this point.
Hands it off. Mizell weaves his way all the way out close to midfield. He'll get another first down as the Ravens now over 100 yards rushing. And Taquan Mizell, along with Keenan Reynolds, Tim White, add him to the list. Tyus Bowser of young players who came into this game trying to start to build their body of work and have done a really nice job.
And John brought it up the other day. You could see the kind of quizzical look in his face going, this guy should have been drafted. As good as this guy is, how did he not? And it happens, obviously. You've already talked a great deal about the undrafted free agents and the great stories. But you look at, you watch this guy play, came out of a big program, Arizona State. You wonder, what is it the scouts didn't like? And I mean, scouts league-wide, because, the entire league passed on him for 7 rounds. You wonder how this guy was not drafted.
Mizell, no gain on that play. It'll be second down and 10. We approach 11 minutes left to play here in the preseason opener. Next week the Ravens will have their first preseason game on the road in South Florida, playing in the heat in Miami. John Harbaugh, of course, will be using that to see how his young players stand up to the challenge of playing away from Baltimore for the first time.
I misspoke. I said Arizona State. I'm thinking Tim White, Mizell coming out of Virginia. Again, a big program. So it's not like it was a small school and no one had saw it. Both he and Tim White came out of big programs, and amazing that they weren't drafted.
And he set the record in the ACC for receptions out of the backfield. Here's Quincy Adebayo on the slant pattern with a reception inside the Redskins 40 for another Ravens first down. Nice throw. Smithson with his second tackle of the night.
Yeah, and the Ravens have some good, big, young receivers. We'll see if they make the squad, obviously. But Quincy's 6'3". The Matthews kid, I know they were talking about a lot about him when I came in. A lot, big receivers are the vogue thing in the NFL. Yeah, you like the quick slot guys, but you got to have these big guys on the outside that can gobble up coverage.
Josh Woodrum out of the shotgun. Blitz pressure coming. Woodrum going up top, looking for Adebayo. Adebayo can't get it, but a flag is down. It will be pass interference on the Redskins. Tevin Homer, all kind of body contact as Josh Woodrum took a shot after he released that pass.
Yeah, this was going to be a touchdown.
Pass interference. Defense number 37 by rule. The ball is placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic. First down.
For the interference, we've already seen it in the game. It's so tough on a DB. You're trailing, and all of a sudden the ball's thrown underneath. If it had the ability to get down the field, it was a touchdown. He had him beat. But the quarterback right here, you can see just not able to get all the way through the throw because of the free rusher. Had he been able to get his legs through the throw, we're likely to be striking up the band and doing a PAT.
Now the Ravens' young quarterback and the young players on offense have a chance to get into the end zone again. With just under 10 minutes left to play. Woodrum out of the gun. Gives it to Mizell. Mizell slips one tackle and will stretch the ball down to about the 7-yard line as the Ravens operate their offense in the Grill Mates red zone. Tonight's Ravens game broadcast on the Ravens Game Day Network, presented by our friends at Geico. Great to have you with us. Great to have the coach back in Baltimore. Brian Billick back with the broadcast team. You've had a lot of opportunities the last couple of years to go around the league and see broadcast facilities, but see organizations from a very knowledgeable perspective.
Yeah.
What do the Ravens bring that is unique?
It's the continuity of philosophy. It sounds overly simplistic, but the vision that's brought from the team, right from ownership down to general manager to the head coach, that shared vision for what it is you want to do. Doesn't mean you always agree. There's a lot of scrimmaging going on, a lot of give and take, a very open process. if anything, underlines Ozzie Newsome's approach, in my opinion. It's a very eclectic approach. I'm going to listen to everybody. Doesn't mean I'm going to do what you say, but you don't walk out, whether it's a draft meeting, personnel meeting, whatever, you don't walk out of that feeling like, well, I'm not being heard. I'm not having my say. Everybody gets to have their input, but it's a shared vision from the very top down through to John, to the coaches, all the way through. As odd as it sounds, it's not always that way with other organizations.
Josh Woodrum slid down inside the 5-yard line where it is 3rd down and goal, and Woodrum wants to take a timeout. Back to your theme of continuity, this franchise has had one general manager, Ozzie Newsome, 3 head coaches. Ted Marchibroda, yourself, John Harbaugh, in 22 years. That's unheard of in today's day and age of turnover and transition. John Harbaugh, now in his 10th season, actually sets the new gold standard for longevity in Baltimore as an NFL head coach. Weeb Ewbank and Brian Billick, 9 years as head coaches in Baltimore. Don Shula was only 7 years. John Harbaugh, the first to go 10 years. And 10 years was almost mythical as far as lasting in the NFL as a head coach. Bill Walsh used to talk about that. John Madden used to talk about that. The stress, the pressure, there are no homecoming games. To get 10 years, not an easy thing to do.
In the 9 years I was a head coach of the Baltimore Ravens, there were 86 head coaching changes in a field of 32. So that means the industry turned itself over 3 times in less than a decade.
All part of that longevity and the continuity you speak of. 3rd down and goal for Josh Woodrum at the empty backfield. Pocket collapsing, he'll escape. Flag is down. Woodrum running out of time, running out of room, and he is belted out of bounds at the 4-yard line by Lyndon Trail.
Well, typically, right, quarterback scrambles out of the pocket. That isn't by design. All of a sudden, the defensive lineman is going a different direction. Likely to get a holding call here.
That is the preliminary signal from Brad Allen.
Holding, offense number 67. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
Justin Tucker will come on and try to add 3 to the Ravens' scoring total after 3 plays and no points inside the 10. Might as well take the 3 points that present themselves. It'll be a 20-yard field goal attempt, which is now still kind of bizarre getting used to this, shorter than an extra point.
I know. I still am not used to watching them kick extra points as far back as they are. And how much do you practice this now? These, it used to be always, okay, the PATs and short field goals, but because this is different. I mean, it's obviously somewhat of a given.
Technically a 21-yarder. Chip shot, Tucker up and through. And with 8:01 left to play, the Ravens extend their lead to 23-3 in front of the Washington Redskins in the preseason opener tonight in Baltimore. 23-3 Ravens in front of the Redskins. You've seen Bronson Calfusi play tonight. Now hear the game from his perspective.
Let's go, finally. What's up?
What's up?
Let's go, baby.
Welcome back to action, baby.
It's been too long. It's been too long,
I know
man.
you're ready.
Man, I love this game, man. I love it, man.
Not necessarily a game or a profession for a linguist, but you like to hear that kind of language from a player because it's evident that after missing last year on injured reserve, this is a kid who has rediscovered his passion.
And he's been away from it a while now, so you have that passion coming out of BYU. This guy's got the length, the range, playing long, I think is the term now everybody uses around the league, whether it's a corner in the defensive line. But given this size, I mean, he's 6'6". That's a wingspan now. That can be a presence, and if they can, again, depth along the defensive line.
Tucker's going to kick this one into the end zone for another touchback. Zach Pascal will field it. Take a look at that Geico scoring drive that made the score 23-3. 10 plays, 77 yards, 6 minutes and 3 seconds. Big play on it, of course, the pass interference, but not bad for the third group on offense to put together a 10-play, 77-yard drive.
And you're exactly right, particularly in the fourth quarter of a preseason game. there's a lot that can go wrong. To put a 10-play drive together, that's not easy. Whether it be a penalty, whether it's a mishap, a miscue with some guys that aren't used to working together, that's very impressive for the fourth quarter.
Speaks to the work of the assistant coaches, getting these guys ready to play in their first NFL game. Ryan will check that. Mac Brown will carry it up the middle, across the 30 to the 34. He'll get about 8 on the play. Clock is running, which is the phrase you like to hear in the fourth quarter. When you have the lead, you're at home, and you've seen a lot of positive things to build on from that first game. Brian, as we start to look next week to Miami, what's the next step young players have to take now that they've had a taste of NFL game action?
Well, like any preseason game, you're coming in and you got to send the coaches back to the tape, so to speak.
Almost intercepted by Trevin Wade. Let's head down to the field where Evan Washburn standing by with Terrence West.
Jerry, thanks. And Terrence, this offense got off to a bit of a slow start, but after that one penalty and that extended drive, you get in the end zone. Take us through the first few series here with Ryan Mallett in control.
Oh yeah, the first 2 series, the defense, they did a great job. I mean, we came back out, we just had some runs downfield, and we took advantage of it.
What has stood out to you about this offense through this early portion of training camp? Obviously, without Joe there, things a bit different. But what do you think has been key to what you guys have tried to do at least?
The run game, we got a different type of run game this year. It's not just outside zone. We got downhill running, and that's how I like it.
You mentioned that run game. We've got Marty Morningwig back, obviously, but Greg Roman sprinkling in his flavor. What can you tell us about what he's brought to this running game and this offense as a whole?
I mean, he's a big factor in this offense. Like, he came from the 49ers. I like, my favorite guy is Frank Gore. That's my favorite type running back, and that's how I like to run.
What are your priorities from the offseason and coming into this year after you got things going last year, but obviously wanting to make an even bigger impact here in 2017?
I'm just trying to help this team win in any type of way. So whatever I got to do that, I'm with it.
When you see this defense play the way it did early in this game, what kind of confidence does that give this offense as you guys are still trying to find yourself again without Joe?
Yeah, defense, man, they look great, man. They swarm into the ball. Everybody's playing that gap, man. Up front look good. They getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback. I think we're going to go far.
Terrence, appreciate the time, man. Thanks.
Jerry? Thank you, Evan. Brian, you had a lot of offenses that had the pleasure/displeasure of having to practice against great defense day in and day out. Long term, it's a benefit.
And there's no question about it. When you go day in and day out against the caliber of competition you're facing on this defense, and as you're following, you're there every day at training camp, Jerry, and the accounts of it, this is a good defense, and the offense has struggled at times. Well, you're going to against a good defense, matchup for matchup across the board. So to be able to test yourself against another defense, you talked about going down to Miami. We'll see a few more of the starters. Hopefully, we'll see some of the receivers. Maybe a little more vertical passing game to go with the good. They're going to continue to push the run. They're going to continue to try to get that pitch count up with regards to the running game, and you just heard him say it there, Terrence West. A little bit more downhill, a little bit more physical. They've got a bigger offensive line that's going to try to be a little more physical. Take those shots down the field. Defense is going to continue to try to build on, okay, we know what our core is. Again, let's find out about some of those secondary guys, some of the backups that are going to make a difference in terms of our depth, because unfortunately, as every team in the league knows, you're going to need that depth at some point.
Penalty on the Ravens defense negates a Van Bradley sack. Now Mac Brown with the carry. He's tied up in the backfield and taken down by Jalen Hill and Patrick Ricard, two of the young players we have talked about throughout the course of the night who have been impressive in training camp. And Brian, the coaches talk about this a lot. Can they take it to the next level into the games? I'd say they both can.
Yeah, and that's the transition. You start with the OTAs and you feel a certain way about guys. But it's okay, now we got to get the pads on. Can they make that transition? And now, can they do it against a different opponent? And we've got 3 more opponents to see. You're not going to, you don't want a one-trick pony. You don't want to just rely too much on one set of film. But at least now you can hone your focus a little bit on some players. And you just named a couple of them with Ricard and Judon as well. As to, okay, are we using this guy effectively enough? Should he be more of in our plans? Let's put him in some positions that makes his job a little bit tougher. Maybe it's in the secondary. Let's get a little bit more man this next week and match up and see if some of these young guys can play a little bit more man.
Deep pass broken up, and it will be offensive interference on the Redskins. Good coverage on the play by Trevin Wade, another guy who we've mentioned his name several times tonight, who was not even on the roster when training camp began.
Pass interference, offense number 83. 10 yards from the previous spot, still second down.
Players yet to see here tonight that we will see in the coming weeks. One of them is Austin Howard, the right tackle, acquired former Oakland Raider. He will change the dynamic up front, and of course at some point in the preseason we expect to see Joe Flacco. I think the big takeaway from Ryan Mallett tonight is that he struggled the first week of training camp. There were heads turning. There was a fair amount of concern. Is this the right guy? When you watch the way the Ravens defense played tonight, you start to realize why perhaps he was struggling. It's a pretty good defense to have to go up against every day.
Absolutely, and like you said, and I don't want to put it in too simplistic terms, but I don't know that anybody, not that they would anyway, but anybody, the fans, us, the organization, you don't need to panic right now. I mean, Ryan Mallett did some things. You always have to build on it. You know, we know what his strengths are. You know where you need to focus on it. You're obviously waiting for Joe to come back, but there's an upside. That was one of the interesting things that I appreciated hearing from John, that you seize the opportunity to get better. Geez, I know these injuries are tough, but you know what? We may end up being better off finding some of these players that we might not have known as much about. So, and that's the mentality you take into the coaching, that you're going to turn it into a positive and see what you can get done.
Nate Sudfeld on second down, throws across the middle, complete to James Quick. And the defense bringing him down far shy of the first down. Let's check in on social media with Twitter. We got a question for the coach coming your way. Brian, who has impressed you most on the Ravens defense tonight?
Well, you could just pick anybody out, but one guy that I think, Michael Pierce, again, unsung on the inside. You don't really talk about those guys a lot, but we talk about the defensive line as the strength of this team right now. We've seen cover skills on the back end from Hill across the board. It's just very, very solid. But on the inside, a guy like Michael Pierce, haven't heard a lot about him. I don't think we've said his name all night, but he's had a good, solid game.
Thanks to Tom Hornick for that question on Twitter. Sudfeld throw on third down and long. He's going to be sacked. Bronson Calfusi wrapping him up and dropping him back at the 40-yard line. That is the third sack for the Ravens defense tonight. So start to finish, we have seen Dean Pease defense come up really strong here in the preseason opener.
Yeah, nice move. A little bit of a twist on the inside, but again, even the athleticism at 6'6" now, slips around the combination protection between the guard and the center, has the athleticism to close it. And again, you see this big man with his arms up in the, I mean, all of a sudden the sun gets blotted out, and all you can see is those long arms and that big 92.
Keenan Reynolds is awaiting the punt. Tress Way. A 48-yard return earlier in the half. There'll be no return here. Secures it with the fair catch. Well, our defensive play of the night came from one of the young players we touched on earlier in the game and had a big game. As Hill came up with the interception after tremendous coverage. Brian, we saw this from this kid all night long, Jalen Hill.
Well, and it showed beyond just athleticism, obviously, that it takes. He understood the defense. He understood he had help over the top. He had the receiver to his back, but he knew where he was on the field, had him kind of pinned to the sideline, so there's only so much he could fade away. He knew where to position himself because he understood the defense and knew he had help over the top. That's saying a lot. It's one thing just to have the physical ability to run down, but to understand the nuance of, okay, I can play it this way because I know what's over the top. I know where he is on the field. That shows a good presence for a young player.
Ravens have a practice portion called AACT, alignment assignment count technique. I think you guys used to call it alignment assignment technique, in which they go over in walkthrough fashion, okay, on this coverage, where are you aligned? What's your job? What's the count on offense? And then what's the technique? And that time you were talking about the inside technique, knowing he had coverage over the top. That's the mental part of the game we hear coaches talking about.
If he didn't understand the defense and what he had over the top, he likely would have overplayed that over the top and may not have gotten the interception.
Josh Woodrum and the Ravens offense backed up inside their 10. Quan Mizell, short run on first down. The Ravens still interested in running clock now as we approach 3 minutes left in our preseason opener. Jerry Sandusky, Brian Billick with you live from the Verizon broadcast booth. Tonight's Ravens Game Day Network, presented by Geico. This has been a very positive start, and it is just that. Brian, I think, summed it up perfectly in your blog on BaltimoreRavens.com, as well as your comments in tonight's pregame show. This is a 4-act play. Tonight's act was about introducing you to the new cast of characters, taking a look at Ryan Mallett, meeting guys like Jalen Hill, looking at undrafted free agents, and then seeing guys like Ricky Ortiz, who takes a swing pass and had a nice vertical play earlier, as well as the complement of veterans. So we've got a sense of the cast of characters now. From a coach's perspective, the challenge becomes moving it forward as job competition really escalates the next 2 weeks.
And part of that is, okay, putting players in position to challenge them. What can they do? I mean, if you could, what good is there if you could magically come up, call the right play that defeats the defense? You got a guy screaming down the field, wide open, and you get a touchdown. All I've learned is that my quarterback can throw to an open guy, and an open guy can catch the ball and run it. I want to see if a guy can make the transition. I want to see if Hill understands the subtlety of the defense. I want to see if the receivers understand how they need to adjust their routes and see if I've got a quarterback that can throw the ball into a very tight spot. We're going to see that next evolution over the next 2 weeks.
The month-long journey through the preseason takes us to South Florida next week against the Miami Dolphins on August 17th, the 7 o'clock kickoff. Then back in Baltimore against the Buffalo Bills before they finish it out on the road in New Orleans. Brian, the journey from here becomes competition, complication, before we reach resolution and find out what questions remain after New Orleans.
Yeah, classic 3-act play, right? We're going to move to that second phase. Game 2 and 3, here comes a vertical shot. Nice timing.
Woodrum up top, and C.J. Ford pulls it down to the 45-yard line with the reception.
I tell you what, you got to all but, with the circumstances, Josh Woodrum has been impressive in terms of where he has been able to put the ball. Deep throws are not a function of arm strength. It's all about timing. He got his nice drop, 5, quick shuffle, lots of air over the top. You can see, look at the arc on it. You put the ball to the outside. 90% of the deep throws in this way are caught between 40 and 45 yards down the field, 5 yards from the sideline. And that's exactly where he put it.
And Ford went up to take a one-hand grab, so it's victory formation now for the Ravens, and we'll have 2 snaps before they can take off for the locker room and start to celebrate a little bit tonight. It won't be a long celebration. John Harbaugh will give the players the day off tomorrow. They'll be back at Owings Mills, back to work, actually back here in the stadium for Saturday morning practice. It's called Breakfast, Bark, and Burn. You're invited to bring your dogs. Believe it or not. How about that? A practice where dogs will be at the practice on Saturday morning.
Here at the stadium?
Here at the stadium.
I'm sure the grounds people love that.
Josh Woodrum will take the final snap. It's all a part of making sure everybody feels like they're part of the NFL.
It is, and that's good, because again, given the limitations of not being able to have training camp where fans come out, to get them exposed to it, you got to love it. The difference between, I mean, you say, yeah, it's preseason, you can be dismissive of it. The building's going to feel good tomorrow. There's a lot of energy when you go compared to what's going to happen in Washington. Yeah. Again, you can dismiss it and say it's preseason, no big deal, move on, we'll look at it, move on. But just the energy that brings to the locker room, the learning sessions, and then you transition, start getting ready for Miami. It's a good thing.
Down to the field where Evan's standing by with Brent Urban.
Jerry, thanks. Here with Brent Urban and Brandon Williams making an appearance as well. From the start of this game, this defense and yourself primarily seemed to come in with a ton of energy. What was the approach here in preseason game 1 with the statement this defense wanted to make?
You know, we just wanted to first just stop the run, you know. Stopping the run's a big thing here, and we just wanted to be physical, you know, finish every play, play dominant as a defense, and I think we did that coming out, and it was just fun to be out here and play against someone that's not us, you know. We were in practice every day, butting heads, so it's nice to have an opponent where we can fully get after them.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because it seemed like there was a genuine excitement to get to play, which makes sense. What did you learn about your group after what was about a quarter and a half where you guys were pretty dominant?
Yeah, it was fun. You know, we were chomping at the bit to get out there, and you know, we just wanted to play physical, be dominant up front, and you know, stop them from passing it down the field, basically. And I think we did a good job, and it was just a lot of fun to be out there.
We touched on it before the game, the depth across this line. What's it like to go to work with a group where it seems like you guys can roll 5-6 guys out there, and they're all equally as impressive?
It's great. You know, there's a lot of competition. We're pushing each other every day, and you know, when you have guys behind you that are really hungry, it makes yourself better. So it's always good to have a guy in there to push you, and you know, whenever you're tired, to go out and not see a drop-off as far as talent.
How about you? Year 4, first couple of years, you had to deal with some injuries, but it seems like you found a rhythm last year and then getting off to a great start this year. What do you want to get out of this season for you personally?
You know, coming off the injuries and everything, it definitely took me a while to get my body back to where, you know, I felt 100%. And, you know, this year I'm coming in feeling great. You know, my legs are really under me, you know, where I may not have felt like that in the past. And, you know, I just feel great out there, honestly. I just want to play physical as possible and, you know, be an impact player for this defense.
Brent, it was a pleasure to watch. Good luck the rest of the way. Stay healthy, man.
Great, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Jerry?
Thank you very much. Brent Urban, one of many young players, and Urban who had impact that makes you really look forward to what we're going to see as the preseason unfolds for John Harbaugh and the Ravens, who win it in the preseason opener tonight, 23-3 over the Washington Redskins.